we can do what's Hondo on the mic from Leo's Paradise. Random stream drop like a Dragon Ball fight. No lie, plan stream stacking up, but here's a twist in time. Freestyling on the deck like Luffy's punchlines. Up the channels faster than Zoro sword swings. Game and pop culture, it's the chaos he brings. Talking movie reboots, superhero hype. Hondo passing the mic, now Bishop's in sight. Cutting flip screen, frame by frame, I align. Laying bass lines heavy, keep the rhythm divine. Dropping 5 videos, can't keep up with the pace. Pass the mic back, Leo's leading the chase. Off the rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. No script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. Off the rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life.
Welcome back to the lunch hour. How are all you vital idols doing? It's been a minute. It has been a minute. I apologize for the lack of lunch hour streams. The last 2 weeks have been absolutely insane. Like, stupid crazy, and I had to cut somewhere just to get some things realigned. It had to be the lunch hour. I planned on coming back yesterday, and then freaking Abomination AJ had to do a 7-hour stream talking about race relations, all them uppity blacks and shit. And of course I was on that having a ball, and it wasn't finished till almost like 5 in the morning. Yeah, the point is, all sorts of excuses, but we back. The lunch hour's back. It's still going to be a regular thing, like always. Had to take that little, again, hiatus, but we are back in this bitch. How is everybody doing? Shout out. Let's see who all we got up in here. Little Miss Anonymous, say me, yo, the first. How you doing, LMA? Grave, you make it sound like it's the first time she's committed treason. Look, you had to title certain things certain ways to hit in that algorithm, son. War Wizard, what is up, my man, with a plan? LMA, of course, saying finally. Vasnum, how you doing? I feel like it's been a minute since you've been in the stream. I've seen you in the comment section of the videos. Feel like it's been a minute since you've been in the stream. Butterframed and Gold is here. Minimal Effort Live since lunch hour. I haven't even had breakfast yet. Well, I have. I made myself a nice protein stuffed breakfast, bro. If y'all want to see what I have for breakfast, it's in the food porn section of the Discord. We got, man, I made myself an omelet stuffed with cream cheese and bacon, plus also had some bacon on the side. Y'all want to see how that turned out? Check the Discord. If you don't have access to the Discord, it means you're not a member. Become a member. Who else we got? Jeremy Hughes review. What up, brother? Valiant Goat. We got Wheels up in this bitch. How you doing, Wheels? Golden Apples is here. Miss Molly. How you doing, Miss Molly? Zax. My boy Zax, dude, we finished out on his stream last night. We finally finished the Cinema Clash, like the Ultimate Cinema Clash Tournament in 1994 one. That's right. Your boy Nostradamus up in this bitch who been saying probably from the beginning that 94 was going to win. Y'all doubt me. I don't know why you doubt me. Like, you say, oh, Leon with the bad takes. I'm right, like 90% of the time. Y'all just don't like the way I say it. What's up, Shield Wall of Dragons? Janice Landers is here. Shout out to Janice Landers. Sleeping Nova. Matt Fun and Cool coming in with a 2-banger. Says Leon gay and cool. Yeah, I am gay and cool. Wait, hold on a sec. I'm cool. I'm alright. I'm gay in the 50s term where it means happy, like in all the Christmas carols, like, you know, like it's the way they say gay in those. Let's see. Who else we got? Valiant Goat, if I didn't say it. Yeah, 90%. Yeah, you know what? 75%. How about, I will meet you at 80. Valiant Goat's laughing at 90. You say 75. I'll meet you at 80. I will meet you at 80. Shut up, Matt Fun and Cool. Shut up. Alrighty, crew. We got a hell of a show. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Ilhan Omar. And really just the Somali invasion in general. We're going to talk about them Pokemon Legos. Before that, this is fucking insane. We actually got, like, we've got politicians on, like, I think, is this in Congress? I believe this is Congress debating over what is actually a woman. Yeah, you can't make this shit up, folks. Let's go.
The Supreme Court is now debating on what a woman is.
Sorry, Supreme
Listen
Court.
to this.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since you bring it up, why don't we start there? Dr. Verma, I wasn't sure I understood your answer to Senator Moody a moment ago.
Oh, well, I don't know if this is the Supreme Court because that's Josh Hawley. That's actually my senator. So that's Josh Hawley. So it's probably just Congress. But anyway.
Do you think that men can get pregnant?
I hesitated there because I.
Do you think men can get pregnant? I hesitate. Yeah, okay. To anybody who was born, like, prior to probably, I'd say, 2013 or so, the answer would have obviously always immediately been, no, are you retarded, Senator? Like, and mind you, guy's a senator. And while Josh Hawley, he's a bit of a mixed bag. Like I said, he's my state senator, a bit of a mixed bag. The point is, yeah, are you retarded, Senator, would be the actual answer to that.
We got to get rid of these people. We got to get rid of them. This is crazy. Like, this is you've got it. This has got to stop. This is so ridiculous, so insane, so stupid. What is this? Take away our license?
I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal was. I mean, I do take care of patients with different identities. I take care of many women.
Oh, patients with different identities don't matter. Again, look at this right here. It says doctor. It says doctor. She went to school for 8 years for this shit, assumingly. Doctor. Take care of patients with different it doesn't matter fucking what your gender identity is. This is a biological question. Can dudes pop a baby out their dick hole? Answer is clearly no, you dumb skank.
I take care of people with different identities. And so that's where I paused. I think, yeah, I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Well, the goal.
Where he was going doesn't matter, bro. He could be about to ask a question about unicorns and butterflies and shit. But if the question is, can men have babies? Where he's going don't matter. That's a very simple, clear-cut answer.
Goal is the truth. So, can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there.
I love why.
He didn't rewind, right? He didn't rewind. Did he just ask the question again? And she just repeat her answer like she's a fucking buffering YouTube video? I'd say like she's a broken record, but I don't know how young some of y'all in the audience are. Don't know what fucking records are. Like, there is no way that this is real.
Watching this unravel in real time. I do. There has been nothing better than watching these people totally unravel and unwind in real time. This is embarrassing. This is the saddest thing ever. It is.
I'm not really sure what the goal of the question is.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics.
All right, it's going to be completely unrelated. It's going to be completely unrelated. And I'm not entirely sure, but it looks like he's using a Ticonderoga pencil. And if that be the case, those are like literally the best pencils ever. Ticonderoga's best pencil. Hashtag not sponsored, of course. Though, if big lead, if big pencil, if big writing want to hit me up, I'll take a Ticonderoga sponsor. But I'm just saying, that's what he is. Good choice, Mr. Hawley.
Right.
So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities.
This is crazy. This is insane. What is wrong with you? Back to the script? Yes.
But
Can men get pregnant?
There are many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
Obfuscation. I take care of people that don't identify as women that could get pregnant. Doesn't fucking matter. Again, from a bio... Because you know what? I've actually had some debates and conversations and arguments and whatnot with trannies, and the majority of them, I will say, the majority of them do admit that they are not biologically the thing they want to be. That's the whole reason they differentiate gender from sex, right? The whole reason they differentiate gender from sex is because when you ask them at a biological level, most of them will concede, yeah, I'm not, actually an XYZ at the biological level, but that doesn't matter because that's my gender expression is different. So if you even got regular ass fucking trannies that most of the time will answer like that, why the fuck is this doctor trying to obfuscate?
Can men get pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying.
Let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics.
I don't know how anybody can watch this and
War Wizard for a two-banger. Use Ticonderoga pencils. Brought to you by... Oh, you son of a bitch. You know what? You sent money, so I'll read it as is, but just know I'm doing it with all the hate in my heart. All the hatred, my little inside feely parts. Use Ticonderoga pencils. Brought to you... Actually, hold on. We need to do like a proper ad read. Use Ticonderoga pencils. Brought to you by Kate Leon. There you go. You happy?
not come to the conclusion that this woman is absolutely insane and should be she should have her license taken away from her. Like, if you think that men can get pregnant, or you can't answer this simple biological reality, you should be disbarred, or like not disbarred, but like, you know, had your license totally taken away.
So actually, it's the opposite though. I think Asmongold's wrong here. So she knows the biological reality of this question. She can't answer it. In terms of getting the license taken away, if I was to hazard a guess, it is more likely that if she answers this question in a way that would be like socially incorrect by the current medical standards and whatnot, because of course they're all in some sort of leftist liberal, you could be anything you want to be cult. If she was to say no men cannot get pregnant, they would probably try and cancel her and take her license away and cancel her practice if she has anything then. Now, I'm not saying to forget this broad or whatever. No, she's complicit in this shit. She's feeding into it. She's buying into it. She a dumb hoe. But in terms of taking her license away, I'd be willing to hazard a guess. It is actually more likely they would take her license away if she answered it scientifically accurately.
Like, what are we doing with this? It's insane that this is even happening. Like, and this is the problem, is that I don't think that we are nearly aggressive enough with these people that are trying to take their weird ideology and turn it into an actual practice. Like, you have to totally destroy these people. And you have to make an example out of them, too. Because if you don't do that, they will totally unravel the world just so they can feel good.
You answered your own question, Nemo Smith Cal Magic. I don't understand why people are still arguing about gender. Swear it's just propaganda. That's why people are still arguing about it. Because it's propaganda. You don't let propaganda die if you're trying to A, push a message or a societal change or whatever, or B, if you're trying to obfuscate from other far more important things. And sometimes it can be a mix of both. So like you answered your own question and why in stating that just blanket sentence.
Or to fit in with their ideology. You can't let this happen at all.
So can men get pregnant? You're a doctor, I think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Science and
evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
no.
I also think yes/no questions are a political tool. I want to ask you all in the chat a simple yes/no question. All right, a simple yes/no question, and I want you to tell me where the politics of this question is. Is green the best color? Just let me know in the chat. Is green the best color? And if so, let me know what the politics are behind that question.
This is no, you don't understand. No, this is all
correct,
a political
Butterframe
tool.
Gold. Yes, green is the best color.
Oh my God.
Yes, no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is about science and evidence, and I'm asking you. You know, the United States Supreme Court just...
I'm so glad to see all y'all green fiends up in this bitch. Green's my favorite color as well. All y'all say, yes, is my favorite color. LMA saying yes. Golden Apples just came in with a 5-banger, which is green. Didn't know how involved making a Discord server. Dude, it's so involved. It's so involved making a Discord server. It is way more involved than you would think it was. There are so many buttons pressed. Yeah, and then after you've got the Discord server made, then you got to go in and make sure all the settings are correct, and that's very important. And frankly, if you're doing it like as a content creator of any sort, whether it be YouTube, YouTube, Twitch, as a game dev or whatnot, look up some YouTube videos for best practices and how to get these settings correct on your Discord server. It is a much more involved process than you would think. Shout out, thank you, truly appreciate it. This one's for you.
I know now that it could never work between us. Not because you're a rabbit, but because you're black.
Heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert. And
This is, thank you. Thank you. Do you remember what I've said before about experts? I've said this over and over and over again. These people are not experts. Stop referring to them as experts. They are absolutely not. Who's defending her? The people that put her up there to say this shit. Absolutely. If you think that this is the truth, a lot of these weird leftist people, they do this constantly. They can't define what a woman is, but they can define what sexism is against women instantly. How does that happen?
you've been telling us that you follow, right?
Never
You're a
listen to
doctor,
experts.
and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to.
I disagree with Asmongold on the whole never listen to experts thing. Like, it depends on the expert. For example, if you need a Resident Evil expert, an RE expert, a Rexpert, if you were, you should come to me, and then you should listen to everything I have to say, because I will be objectively correct. So, like, it just depends on the type of expert.
know, based on the science,
Right.
can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying.
There's no complexity. It's not complicated. It's just not.
It's not complex.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get
simple.
to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity as a medical professional.
To be fair, he probably shouldn't use veracity. That seems like a very big word for her. If she's having trouble with yes or no questions, she gonna have a real lot of trouble with a word that got multiple syllables.
And as a scientist, can men get pregnant?
I think you're also conflating.
Those are not experts, Dokuman. Those are shills.
Man. She's definitely in denial. It is. This is a doctor. And I want you guys to see how bad it is. See, these are the same people that are out there repeating these same lies over and over. You got to institutionalize these people. You got to do something about them. You can't let people out here going around, this is a doctor. Where are our standards? What the hell is going on?
This is
male
extraordinary.
female with
No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
I swear to God, if she tries to use, like, the intersex argument, well, actually, and it's not just men and women, there's also intersex. Okay, yippee, 0.00007% are intersex. But guess what? Did y'all know that intersex people still have a dominant male or female? That's why we're able to assign them as one or the other, while also acknowledging that they have the biological mutation that is intersex. I swear to Christ if that's the route she goes.
What you were talking about is
What you're talking... Oh, let's hear what this actually is. Oh, my God.
biological.
You're not going to answer my question. it sounds like.
Biological males.
This isn't.
She's afraid of being attacked by people out in public. I know. And you have to force these people into admitting it. And I think that really the more that you press them on this, the more this will fall apart and totally unravel. This is what happens, is that these ideologies, there's a reason why the entire internet needed to be censored in order to make these ideologies able to exist. It's because the moment that even the slightest amount of logic and rationality is applied to them, they totally fall apart. They collapse.
Hard, doctor. Can men get pregnant? Yes or no?
I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you.
Actually, this isn't about a conversation, all right? You are sitting here before Congress to answer, frankly, questions that a preschooler can answer. This isn't like you're chilling, having a couple drinks, having a conversation. You are in a setting that is designed to set legal precedent. This ain't a conversation, you dumb skank.
It's so patronizing and obnoxious and annoying. Don't you just hate people like this? They're so annoying. I hate them.
That is not coming from a place of trying to be polarized and
It's polarizing to talk about whether men can get pregnant or not. I'm sorry, but if you get polarized by that, you need to be in a box. You need to be in a padded room.
push
I'm not trying to be polarizing. I'm trying to ask. I think it is
reality.
extraordinary that we are here in a hearing about science and about women. And for the record, it's women who get pregnant, not men.
It also
We are here.
I'm really glad he established that, because we're 7.5 minutes in, almost 8 minutes in actually, and I was sweating. I was like, I'm fucking no. Can men get pregnant? Have I just been really, really fucking lucky all those times? All 4 times I've had sex?
About the safety of women and science that shows that this abortion drug causes adverse health events in 11% of cases. That's 22 times greater than the
That's insane. 11% is a crazy number.
FDA label, another fact you haven't acknowledged, and yet you won't even acknowledge the basic reality that biological men don't get pregnant. There's a difference.
This is, remember what I said before about how these people have totally replaced religion with ideology? This is their new religion. This is the reason why they can't deny it or go back.
Okay, I know it's to be pedantic to say so, but I do have to correct Asmongold here. They've not replaced religion with ideology. They've replaced religion with secularism, secular humanism, things to that effect. Because religion in and of itself is also an ideology. But yeah, they've replaced religion with a secular ideology.
On it or say anything that is counter to it at all. This is a dogmatic cult religion.
Damn, I've never once heard that argument, Zax, and all the years we've been arguing this stuff and talking about this, and I hesitate to even call it a debate, because there really is no debate. I've never heard someone bring up the what if I identify my blood type argument. That's actually real fucking brilliant.
Difference between biological men and biological women. I just,
That's how it is.
I don't know how we can take you seriously and your claims to be.
We can't take her seriously. And mind you, the reason we can't take her seriously is not because of her beliefs. It's because she is a woman.
A person of science, if you won't level with this on this basic issue. I thought we were past all of this, frankly. I can't believe we're still here talking about this.
I am a person of science, and I'm
No,
also
you're not.
someone here who
No, you're not. No, you're not.
See?
who's here to represent the complex experiences of my patients, and I don't think
They're not. It's not complex at all. What do you mean it's complex? It's just, this is what they do. It's insane, man. She's a confused person. She is.
polarized language or questions serve that goal. I don't think they serve the American people.
It is not polarizing to say that there is a scientific difference between men and women, and I want this to be clear and for the.
Dude, I imagine this broad going to the bar, right? Imagine this broad goes to the bar, dude starts flirting with her, buying her drinks and whatnot. She's getting a little floozy like, and he's like, yo, you want to go back to my place? She's like, sorry, I can't. I don't want to get you pregnant. Like, for her worldview to make sense, she would have to unironically believe that and hold to that standard.
The record. It is not polarizing to say that women are a biological reality and should be treated and protected as such. That is not polarizing. That is truth. It is also, by the way, the United States Constitution, which offers unique protections to women in a variety of circumstances as women.
That's another really big component he's talking about, is that if you can't define.
Minimal Everett says, yo, on topic, can we get AOC to cosplay as Lara Croft? $10 super chat, and I'll pull it up on ChatGPT right now. But I'll do it like that. We got to monetize that shit, because look, AOC, dumb as she is, she got some assets, right? She got some assets. So I will ChatGPT what it looks like for a $10 super chat. We'll throw it up on screen for y'all.
What a woman is, how can we define sexism against women? How can we define gender discrimination against women? How can we define any of these different things that all of our laws and all of our country is built around if we can't even identify what a woman is in the first place? You see what I'm saying? And this is what these people have a problem with, is they're not even able to engage with this even in the first degree of rationality. So yeah, whenever you make your ideology your identity, you perceive every criticism as a personal attack, and you will always defy logic just so you can feel in the right. True. She just said why she's there. She doesn't want to lose patience in the money giving a logical answer. Well, again, I think that there needs to be some degree of accountability for people that are engaging with this stuff, especially if they're doctors. Because when you're a doctor, like, this is a license that's given to you by a medical board. If a medical board is giving out licenses to people that don't know what a woman is, then at what point are they enabling malpractice?
Well, I mean, that's why the whole thing needs to be shut down. That's why the whole thing needs to be shut down. If you look into the history of the of how, you know, the National Medical Board was founded, and there's an actual name for it. It's not called the National Medical Board. I'm blanking on what it's called. You guys might know in the comments. The point, if you look into the history upon how that was founded, you will be shocked. Ever since, I believe, like the late 1800s, early 1900s, we've actually been living in a scienceless regime when it comes to the medical industry. And obviously, I say that it sounds very extreme, because it is. Obviously, it's not, you know, inherently scienceless. What I mean by that is, from the beginning of, you know, when the National Medical Board was founded, they formed via as a way to prioritize lab-grown products and profit over homeopathy. So like it's actually quite terrifying. That's not to say there ain't been a whole lot of good drugs and shit ever made. Penicillin's pretty fucking awesome, but in general, like the idea of, you know, the modern medical system as we know it being used as a tool just to shut down alternative home remedies and anything that's not, you know, made in the lab and funded by the government and funded by grants and things to that effect is terrifying.
Really?
And your refusal to recognize women as women and men as men is deeply corrosive to science,
crazy?
to public trust, and yes, to constitutional protections for women as women.
Yep.
And I think it's
I don't think that Republicans are even remotely as aggressive against this stuff as they should be.
Correct.
Like, in my opinion,
Republicans are pussies. Always have been. Excuse me. Republicans are pussies. Always have been. If you were doing this shit right, you would be criminalizing motherfuckers. You would be fining them not millions, but billions of dollars. Oh man, we fined Pfizer, Pfizer millions of dollars in the 90s after the AIDS scandal. Yeah, millions of dollars to an industry that is worth to a single company that is worth billions is fucking pocket change. You be fining people, you be throwing them in jail, you be taking away medical licenses. Yes, no. As we go through, we have not gone. I say we because I'm not fucking Republican, so I don't know why I'm saying we. But like, yes, the right wing in general has not gone near far enough.
I think that any of these different doctors that did any sort of intervention, like any sort of trans intervention on anybody under the age of 13, should be brought up on child mutilation or child endangerment charges. They should be totally, removed from the license. We should put them in jail, do all of this retroactively, take these people, remove their licenses as well, and then just totally scorched earth these people. Because the reality is that you can never reason with people that are brainwashed. And this is a really big mistake. 18, not 13. I think 13 is a point where everybody can agree. I think 14 to like 18, there's like some gray area, right? So like all I'm talking about.
I don't even know what you mean by gray area. You would need to really explain yourself because I disagree completely. There ain't no fucking gray area. There ain't no gray area whatsoever. Like, if when you say there's a gray area, I would absolutely need to hear an argument for that. And even then, you're still probably gonna be fucking wrong. The idea to me is, kid is born, kid is kid, kid stays what kid is until 18. And when it's 18, it can make a fucking choice for itself. It might make the wrong choice once it becomes an adult. Fair enough, what the fuck ever. But yeah, no. I like, if your whole thing about there's a gray area is like, if the parents actively choose to call you by a different gender, even that, I think the parents should be brought up on child abuse charges. Like, I'm pretty fucking hardline on this shit.
About are the easy wins. Okay, you want to say 18? I agree with you on 18.
Well, War Wizard, I disagree with the 21 thing. I get what you're saying. You can't even buy cigarettes at 18. That's a relatively recent change to the law. For many, many, many years, you were able to buy cigarettes at the age of 18. It only got changed in the last several years. By the time it got changed to 21, I was already like 25 or something like that. So point I'm getting at, cigarette thing should be rolled back to 18, not everything else moved up to 21. I think 18 is fine. 18 should be the legal age for everything. If you can consent to join the military, if you can, be driving with a full license, if you can be doing all manner of everything but, like, smoking. By the way, most European countries that have far lower like alcohol and substance abuse problems than us have their drinking age at 18. I actually think that everything needs to be scaled back to 18.
But the fact is that 13 and under is the easy win. And so anyway, not even close? Yeah, sure, right? Okay, fine, 18.
Okay, from that argument, he does make a solid point. Like, from a political standpoint, 13 under is an easy win. 13 under is a very easy political win. So when you put it like that, if you're just looking for the easy political win, and then you can adjust and coordinate going forward, he is correct from a strategic point of view.
I don't care. Why are we even arguing about this? Doesn't matter. My point is that they need to be way more aggressive with these people, because you're never going to reason a person out of a position that they didn't reason themselves into. These people are afraid. So the only way that you can conquer that is to make them more afraid of you. And so the way that you do that is you introduce penalties, punishments, and accountability that is so brutal and so extreme that they're afraid to push this ideology on kids. They're afraid to try to change science in a way that affirms mentally ill people's gender identity. And they're afraid to try to push this on the public. That's what you have to do. You have to be aggressive. You have to go completely all the way with them. And if you don't do that, what they do is they just kind of stay in their little box and they consolidate power more and more and more and more as much as they can. And then eventually...
Well, but they don't stay in their little box. He's wrong again. They don't stay in the little box. That box starts off as a little box, but he mentioned they consolidate power, which is true. And when they consolidate more and more power, that box grows. And then it grows some more. And then it grows even more than that. So what started off as a little box becomes a giant fucking tetrahedron.
They will exercise that same power against you. You have to shut them down. You totally shut them down, and you do it with literally no mercy, no recourse, no, like second guessing yourself. You totally destroy them.
Extraordinary.
I don't know why they don't do that.
You would sit here and advance a political agenda that has been thoroughly discredited
Completely
and rejected by the American people in this forum. And I'm glad we had this exchange, because it is exceptionally clarifying. It is also in many ways quite depressing. I see that
Bro, she just taking her fucking lashes. Like, honestly, I will do something I rarely do. I'll give a woman props. I ain't ever heard a woman stay this quiet for this long.
Time has nearly expired. I just want to thank the other witnesses for being here. Thank you for protecting women and children. Thank you for your valiant efforts. Thank you for following the science. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, for this hearing.
Holy shit. What is going on? And literal utter Karen annihilation. I know. What do you mean there's a gray area in 14, 18? I think that some people view people like teenagers, older teenagers, as having a degree of like ability to understand what they want more than like a 7-year-old.
Hey, catch you later, Wizzy.
But I don't think anybody under 18 needs to be having any sort of medical transgender interventionism. Like no puberty blockers, no surgery, no anything. So it's not like I don't agree with you. I'm just saying, like, for 13 and under, that's like that's the really crazy stuff. And so, yeah. And about then, your brain isn't developed till 25. Yeah, but you can join the army at 18. So I figure if you want to go on, get surgery or whatever, that's totally fine. But anyway, let me see if I can pull out the rest of these, because yes, there has been a massive crash out for this, and they're actually falling apart trying to justify why women aren't women. Oh, here we go again. Here's another one.
Miss Verma, can men get pregnant?
We got another rep just about to grill her on the same thing. Bro, I swear to Christ, we're going to see a physical manifestation of that little fucking YouTube buffering wheel on her forehead.
Dr. Verma,
Yes.
I just want to make sure we're
Dr.
all
Verma.
addressed.
If it's up to me, not for long. Doctor.
Can men get
A
pregnant?
doctor.
As a doctor, give me your opinion. As a doctor, can men get pregnant?
Somebody's laughing.
I mean,
I'll move
Yep.
on to the next one. Is doctor, can
No, you never let these people move on. You bury them. Absolutely bury them. What are
men
you
get
doing
pregnant?
moving on?
No.
I know you're a lawyer, an AG, like I was an AG. Can men get pregnant?
No.
Miss Verma,
No.
can
Obviously not. Obviously you can't get pregnant if you're if you're a man. Duh. It's so obvious. Let me go and see if I can find the other comments about this, because there's been even more about.
I'm down for raising everything 25, vote, banning porn, etc. Here's the problem, though, Butterframed in Gold. There's no way on God's green earth that the U.S. Military would wait till 25 to accept individuals into their ranks. And if they're going to make that the case, everything needs to be uniform in that regard. If they had to wait to, whether it be conscripting people if the draft was ever brought back, or whether it be just joining in general, if they were going to put that at 25, the reason they want to get you young is so they can indoctrinate you early. Like, they don't want you to have any bad habits. They want you to be able to think for yourselves, especially with your brain. Like, they want you when your brain isn't fully developed. That way you are more likely to follow orders. So if they're not going to raise the age of, the selective service or joining the military or anything to that effect to 25, then nothing else should be 25.
This with the Supreme Court. It is insane. And yes, and they go after the kids because it makes them unstable to procreate. It's the only way they can keep their ideology alive. Well, again, the only problem is that I think that a lot of these conservatives, and I don't even think it's a conservative thing. I think this is just a normal people thing. I think a lot of these just straight up normal people are unwilling to be as aggressive and as hostile against this stuff as I think they need to be. And I think that's the big issue that we have now, is that basically there's no real accountability for these people. So because they don't face any accountability, they just say and do whatever the hell they want. So that's really the big problem, I think, that what happens. Let me see if I can pull up the rest of the comments about this too, because what is this, Supreme Court? I guess maybe trans, probably a better way to look at it. See if I can find the rest of that's what we're conservatives. I don't even think that I'm a conservative, if you want me to be honest. I don't think so at all. I think this is just common sense reality.
It is.
So yeah, and
as well. Why are you splitting up sports? Like, I'm pretty sure a woman could play basketball as well as a man if she
Wrong. Retarded. Incorrect. If a woman could play basketball as well as a man, the WNBA wouldn't be subsidized by the NBA. Next question.
practice and keep practice. Like, what's the issue?
Holy shit, do you see what's on her fucking... I can't zoom in, unfortunately, but she got, the Baphomet on this bitch. I could be wrong, but it looks like she got the upside-down pentagram on this motherfucker right here.
oh my God, where are these people? How can you be this delusional? This is insane.
The Department of Justice will not sit by when women are discriminated against in sports.
I will echo Attorney General's comments about how brave these women are, these young women.
I thank you on behalf of course, myself, but I think...
Yeah, obviously, right? I mean, the West is falling. Well, I think that the reason why things are getting worse is because there's nobody that actually holds these people accountable, and that's the main issue of what happens.
I'm Congressman Greg Steube from the great state of Florida.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I've been fighting this fight since 2019 when I filed an amendment to the Democrats' so-called Equality Act to protect women's sports.
Equality.
We then filed a standalone bill in 2020, and it took 3 years for it to pass the House floor. We filed it again this last year, and thanks to your advocacy, it passed the House with bipartisan support.
Yep.
Yet because of the ridiculous filibuster rule in the Senate, it dies in the Senate, which is why these cases are so important. SCOTUS has a chance to protect women because the Senate has failed them. During this entire fight, I have said that states need to exercise their 10th Amendment rights to protect women's sports. And thankfully, 27 states have exerted their rights and passed bills to protect women.
Thank God.
You know, I get the women's sports aspect. I do. And frankly, I agree that knee is protected. That being said, can we focus on maybe the, I don't know, the absurd numbers of rapes and shit that dudes commit against women, the massive sexual assault that dudes who are cosplaying as women commit against other women? I feel like talking about sports is fair and fine, and especially if you're it really hits home towards parents, because parents are gonna put their kids in these sports and they don't want to see their kids lose for unfair reasons. It's good marketing strategy for getting votes. But it's clearly not issue numero uno.
Title IX was created by Congress over 50 years ago.
Yeah, the West has a future.
Specifically to create and protect women in sports.
Obviously.
Yet due to the left's perversion of what a woman is, it has been under constant attack.
Jesus.
Men do not belong in women's sports because they are not women. They are men. The Supreme Court has the opportunity to...
I don't see how anybody can argue against this on any sort of foundation that makes sense at all.
You know, Ginty Max, you make a very good point.
Really?
Do what Congress
There's
has failed
no foundation
to do
for this
to
at
protect
all.
Women's sports.
It's crazy.
And the state's ability to act where the federal government has failed. At a minimum,
So simple? Yeah.
I pray that
It's
the court
so
allows
obvious.
states to determine policy that protects women. But it is also time that the U.S. Supreme Court to rule there are only two genders and trans is not one of them.
Yeah, obviously.
God bless each and every one of you, and God bless the great United States of America.
Thank God. Okay, finally, we're getting some degree of changes. Refer to men as trans girls who are ignoring biological truth. What is this here? Conservative justice, Amy Brown Current. What is this?
You're just drawing the line based on biological sex and saying that trans girls can't be on the girls' team.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, pretty much.
In an age group that's prepubescent.
Yeah.
The record in this case does not support the notion that males
Yeah, of
lack
course.
an athletic advantage at 6 years old. That's about as early as the science goes from what's in the record. And even at that age, males have about a 5% athletic advantage over girls in most situations. Now,
You're just
It's just I mean, when would there ever be a situation where a 6-year-old was trans? Oh, I know. Whenever their parent, probably the mother, grooms them to be trans.
Bingo, bango, bongo. That was exactly what I was going to say. I want to hear if that's what he said or not. Yeah, exactly. Ain't no such thing. And you hear, dude, scroll through X. Just type in trans, scroll through X. Eventually, you're going to hit posts where people are like, I knew I was trans when I was 6 years old. No, the fuck you didn't, you lying son of a bitch. You did not know that. And that nobody fucking knows that when they're 6. Especially when you look at the fucking desistance rates and you realize that it's an overwhelmingly, 70 to 90% of cases, people that think they're trans when they're prepubescent or even when they're just in their teenage years, when they're adolescents or whatnot, grow up to just be gay for whatever their gender is. So nobody, as much as they want to claim, I knew I was trans when I was 6 years old. The fuck you did.
It's insane, man. Prepubescent boys are absolutely still stronger than girls. Yeah, I mean, obviously they are. I mean, it's not even a question. But this is what happens. You argue the Supreme Court, the definition for sex should not be used when ruling how to enforce Title IX. And this is the other big problem for what happens, is that this is the reason why I don't think anybody should accept the lie that, gender and sex are two different things. The reason...
when did I know that I was trans? When I realized I could make money off of it. If you want me to be 100% honest, when I realized I could make money off of it. That's when I knew. When it started off as a joke on Saturday Night Hypnosis and it got a lot of attention, just like any good grifter, I thought, man, I can make some fucking money off this. So that's when I found out I was trans. And then when it stopped being when it stopped being a notable grift, when people stopped paying as much for it, I was like, all right, grift is over. I can't make as much money off being trans anymore.
Why is because they intentionally redefine these terms in order for them to try to tell you what the difference is. And I think that basically they do that. They redefine terms and then they build legal cases around the redefinitions. That's what happens.
And there it is, boys. There it is. That's how we starting off. I told y'all that the lunch hour was coming back, and if the lunch hour coming back, we're going to start off motherfucking strong, making sure the world knows that we are not ready to accept these dumbass dudes who cosplay as women and these political pundits and these doctors that think that that could be the biological truth, that think that can be some sort of medical truth. No, we will smite these motherfuckers. This is not real. This is not reality. This is not the way the world works. This is not the way the world has ever worked. And these fucking morons need to be put on blast. Whether it be on X, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be in public, whether it be in the political space, whatever it may be, trans ain't fucking real. And that's my thoughts on that. But now time for what we really came here for. Let's do some thumbnail and title topics. She just declared war on America. Ooh, let's talk some shit about that low IQ Ilhan Omar.
The Trump administration is going all in to root out fraud. Vice President J.D. Vance announced a new federal task force which will go after people who rip off taxpayers nationwide.
So, as Minnesota's industrial fraud schemes spread throughout America and the government cracks down, the mobs are rising up, taking to the streets in America's scam capital to plunder and destroy everything they can in an attempt to have ICE stop arresting illegal fugitives, as well as their door-to-door raids of fraud strongholds, which some elected officials are mobilizing left field armies to defend at all costs.
I have actually not followed up on the comments that Ilhan Omar has made or not. Like, I know she's said some dumb, egregious shit as of late. I've specifically been holding off on listening to what she said for this. I was scrolling through X this morning, and some of her like speech shit came up. I was like, nope, keep scrolling. I want to find out in real time with you guys, because we know it's going to be just some thing of beauty forms of low IQ idiocracy.
They just started marching. It's very loud. They have drums, they have whistles, they have bullhorns, and the reason is because they are going outside hotels where they believe ICE agents are sleeping.
And when people are disappeared in the darkness?
If I was going to do the words Paradise Daycare, to bring in a couple million, though, I would bring Leona back for that. I would bring Leona back for that. That way, if they ever did investigate me for fraud, I could just say you're doing it because I'm trans, and then I'd get, like, national news coverage and shit.
American democracy dies. Congress, they are disappearing you as citizens. They are disappearing people who have proper documentation. This should not be allowed.
Those aren't calls to peacefully protest. Those are calls to violence, which we have seen every single day. Politicians are celebrating those doing hand-to-hand combat with law enforcement. Somehow they are now martyrs.
It's not just because of a beef that they've got with Tim Walz in Minnesota. They think this is a nationwide problem. Fraudulent taxpayer payments to businesses that don't exist.
Many different individuals protesting, agitating, and things like that. These agitators are out of control, and they will do almost anything, it seems.
No, democracy was not a mistake, Tebow. Democracy was not a mistake. Allowing democracy, allowing republicanism, constitutional republicanism, to fail to the point that we're allowing all these individuals in do not share our values and views on what constitutional republicanism is what is what was a mistake. Like, the idea that democracy, or again constitutional republicanism, absolutely can work when you have a populace that agrees on base moral values
to try to stop our mission.
The hotel where ICE is saying, where they... This is what mob rule looks like, and this is what's going to happen to all of America if the scam complex taking it over is allowed to keep going. And nobody's talking about how there is one political party in this country that benefits from all of this mayhem, while the rest of America pays a very heavy price for it.
The political party that benefits the most is the Somalian government. It's not even the liberals. It's not even the Democrats. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're benefiting as well, but really, it's the Somalian government.
And that would be the left-wing socialists trying to take over America from the inside. But there's a problem. These fraud enablers find themselves in the center of a billion-dollar investigation that's just getting started, which explains why they're rallying hired armies of goons.
What's the point of sister cities? Well, so Sturgeon, I actually live in a city that has a sister cities. The city I live in, we've got a sister city in Japan, Isesaki specifically. And the reason that we have a sister city program between us and Isesaki, Japan, is that way we can, we will donate certain amount of funds to them to bring American culture. They will donate certain amounts of money and cultural exports to us. We've got this beautiful Japanese botanical garden, so there's a lot of cultural sharing there. We get like exchange student programs for our schools in terms of like sending our American kids to Japan to study abroad in Japan. They send some of their students here. So like there are benefits to the Sister Cities program, but we need to be doing it with actual first world developed nations, like Japan, not, anything to do with Somalia. I don't even know there are sister cities for like cities in Somalia and whatnot.
Goons and communist sympathizers to storm Minnesota, trying to recreate the types of riots and mayhem seen during Donald Trump's first term to send a message that America's time is up. But the problem for these mobs is that there's one man standing in the gap, so to speak, who's not gonna let these criminals declare war on America and get away with it, not when they're protesting all his successes, like lower grocery prices, lower gas prices, and the removal of dictators and illegal immigrants from places they should never be. And caught in the middle of all of this winning and whining are confused sanctuary leaders who wouldn't be in power without endless fraud perpetuating it. But as you're about to see, some of these leaders know exactly what to say to keep the mobs angry.
And when people are disappeared in the darkness, American democracy dies.
What do you mean in the darkness? Bro, go to Minnesota. Go to the Twin Cities in Minnesota, all right? Even if it's noon, it's the darkness.
Congress, they are not only disappearing people who have committed crimes.
Wrong. They're not disappearing people because these animals are not people.
Who are in this country undocumented. They are disappearing U.S. citizens. They are disappearing people who have proper documentation. This should not be allowed.
So
it doesn't matter if they have proper documentation, because that documentation should not have been approved to begin with. They should not have been, brought over here. They should not have been approved to come over here. They have not met the requirements to be, refugees or any of the nonsense that allowed them to come over here in the first place. Again, this is a blatant gaming of the system that allowed this to happen. Those documentations you talk about it's effectively a fake ID.
Representative Omar says without evidence that U.S. citizens are being disappeared. That is supposed to make every single person in this country who loves freedom and loves democracy angry to the core. And it's working on some people. I've never understood how attacking and agitating with law enforcement while holding the flag of another country represents what's best for America. That's always going to confuse me. It probably confuses you too, but what's even more confusing is what happened after this. So the rioters, they think that ICE agents are staying in various hotels in the downtown area. So what do? They attack these physical buildings based on a hunch that there might be
yeah, the same hotels that, by the way, like, I don't know if this is happening in Minnesota, to be fair, but, like, we have seen this happen in Chicago, we've seen this happen in New York City, I believe we've seen this happen in California, I know we saw it happen in Washington, I believe in the Seattle area, where the hotels were not being occupied by ICE agents or any sort of law enforcement. No, they were being occupied by illegal immigrants paid for by the taxpayers, paid for by the state. So even if they had ICE agents up in hotels, after the last, roughly 4 to 6 years of this going on with what was happening with illegal immigrants in the hotels that would trash them and destroy them, all being done on the taxpayers' dime, being given these gold cards with X amount of thousands of dollars on it. I really don't give a fuck if the ICE agents and whatnot are staying in hotels. These people can't even tell you why they were outside Talking Points. It's because these protesters are bought and paid for. These protesters are shipped in to protest, shipped out. Again, we've got multiple evidence of that. Oh, it's real strange how this pile of bricks that wasn't there the day before is now just sitting there on the side of the street.
Federal agents inside who are staying there temporarily, and since no sanctuary police came along and stopped them, they were allowed to start doing this. Guess what that led to?
That window is gonna break.
So there were people inside that hotel room. You can see them looking through the glass at these mobs that are just hammering on their windows, holding signs, wearing masks.
And this is just like a regular hotel room. Like, look in here. You can see, like, there's a dude at, like, what seemed to be like a kitchenette area, prepping some dinner or some shit. By the way, he was like an older white guy. Hold on, let's see if we can go back a few frames. Here we go. I don't know if he's older. I can't quite tell if he's older based on how grainy the footage is, but he's definitely like a very least middle-aged, thick white dude with glasses who's like prepping dinner or some shit. Who knows what this dark motherfucker is, and maybe it's his wife, maybe it's a friend of his who's to say, but the point is, this is just some regular, average, everyday motherfucking citizen. Even if it is an ICE agent, like, what's it, that wouldn't obviously make it okay, but I got my doubts as an ICE agent. It's just a dude wearing a button-up shirt and what looks to be a windbreaker.
Masks, doing every single thing that represents destruction, trying to destroy this building itself, which, as you're about to see, started happening the moment these rioters breached the lobby. But just before we continue, do you owe back taxes or haven't filed in years? Now is the time to resolve your tax matters, because with the national conversation around abolishing the IRS, that federal agency is becoming even more aggressive, fighting tooth and nail to prove that it's here to stay. They're sending out more collections.
And, say it with me, class, taxation is theft.
Notices filing more tax liens and collecting billions more in recent years. And if you owe, the IRS can take your wages, your bank account, your social security, and even your home. If you owe...
Hey, on Judah Main coming in with a 5-banger super sticker. Shout out, thank you oh so much. This is for you, brother.
Name one word that starts with G pronounced like J. Gentrification. Shoot, should have thought of that. I was just in San Francisco.
Truly appreciate it, homie.
Filed, it's not a question of if the IRS will act, it's when. Right now, Tax Network USA is offering a completely free IRS research and discovery call to show you exactly where you stand and what they can do before it's too late. Their powerful programs and strategies can save you thousands and even eliminate your debt if you qualify. Don't make a serious mistake calling the IRS on your own. Representing yourself and waiving your rights can cost you more money because they're not on your side. Get protected the right way with Tax Network USA and start the process of settling your tax matters once and for all today. Call 1-800-958-1000 or click the link below, which will also be in the video description, for your free discovery call with Tax Network USA. Don't let the IRS be the first to act, which is what the sanctuary police in Minnesota let these rioters do every single time they take to the streets.
Hey, Chief, why are you letting your city get like this? Why are you letting your city vote like this? What the f***? You're a bunch of
What's fascinating about this is that right there is the same sanctuary police chief who gets on television every time ICE does anything and says he's there for Minnesotans, he's there for the mobs, and ICE is wrong, and we're not going to let this happen.
Oh, look at that. They ran him off. They ran him out the street. He had to fucking bounce with his little cohorts there that you know, instigated this, that allowed this to happen. Yo, shout out for the Cater Raid. You love to see it. Khalil Too Short. What is up, you little foot demons? I appreciate all you. Yeah, we got a foot raid up in here. What is up, you little guys? I appreciate it. Shout out Kata. But no, as I was saying, so yeah, you got that police chief, right? You got that Twin Cities police chief that's sitting there and he's talking about, oh, you know, I'm here for everybody, including all these illegal immigrants, including our Somali brothers and sisters. They don't give a fuck. They didn't watch the news to see that you're on their side. They ran your ass out of there. Oh, these people, oh, we live in a police state. America's a police state. If America was a police state, guess what? Them cops would have had this motherfucking quelled, bro. They would have had this shit quelled. It's not quelled. They got overran and ran out the fucking street by this mob of, again, paid agitators, like it was said earlier, protesters, liberal white women, illegal immigrants, the whole nine. If we were actually a police state, this shit never would have happened to begin with.
And we're there, believe in us, trust us. But no, that's not what these mobs want. They think that since they pay taxes, the function of their local law enforcement should be different than enforcing the law. Watch this.
Well, and to be fair, I don't really know that these people pay taxes, because I don't know how many of these people are actually legally here. I don't know how many of these people are, you know, upstanding citizens that pay their taxes, even though taxation is theft. We don't know how much of the money is actually going to the police force, considering it seems like we have several millions, if not over $1 billion, going to this Somalian fraud stuff. So at least it looks like they have enough money to buy these nice, fancy, reflective vests. But again, that doesn't seem to be helping them in any way, shape, or form. You know, look at this nice, bro. Donatello got a bigger bow staff than you. Why are you gonna let a fucking 15-year-old turtle have a bigger staff than you?
You shouldn't be left to be lumped in these mother. Don't do it! Don't do it! Don't do it!
This clip is fascinating for a few reasons, because we've got this grown adult who's screaming at law enforcement, and while he's screaming at law enforcement, he's shocked to see that his actions embolden other mob-related protesters who are there watching this happen, and how they try to take things a step further. He doesn't really understand the snowball effect that mob rule has on a place, but
you would think that somebody that lives in Minnesota would understand the snowball effect.
What's he screaming about? He wants the police to throw themselves at the federal government. He thinks that they are his personal sanctuary army to go out there and keep the U.S. border wide open. Both of those are fascinating, and it really goes to show you that people who are on this side of the fence, this left field portion of America, they don't care anything about law and order. They're entirely selfish in the way that they think. They think every single thing that they do is justified, and they think
Super Psychotic member for 8 months. Shout out, says Kata said he was saving you a whale from FatCon. Yeah, homie, I don't think you're allowed to take exotic animals across state lines. And even if that was the case, I don't want none of that. I live on the second floor of an apartment. Broad like that walks through the door, gonna fall through the fucking floorboards, and then I gotta pay for that shit. I get that landlords are supposed to cover all that and whatnot. I don't know if they cover active whale.
anybody that takes things a step further than they already have might be part of the problem, but not them. No, never. But while the sanctuary police were fleeing the scene of a crime, something no heroic law enforcement officer would ever even think about doing, another sanctuary sheriff in a different part of America just gave these guys a way out and told them how they should be interacting with their own mobs.
Let know that law enforcement professionals, real ones.
Yo, is this Black Pat? Is this Black Pat? Like, I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with the Pat reference. I don't know how old a lot of y'all are, but like, I can't tell if this is a dude or a female. I think we looking at Black Pat.
Not the fake made-up ICE, probably
what?
Trump's new army to attack citizens of the United States.
Yes, the new army, the new army of ICE that was formed in, if I recall, 2003.
States.
Wow.
Did you hear what I said? No law enforcement professional wears a mask. None. And so we stand here today with all those who stand against the made-up, fake, what you can call ICE, professional law enforcement. I don't call them none of that. I call them made-up, fake, wannabe law enforcement.
Wow.
Because what they do is against not only legal law, but the moral law.
Did this dumb hoe just say against legal law? Like, guys, I'm gonna tell y'all a story. So, for those of you that don't know, I dropped out of high school. So I got my GED. So I eventually went to enroll in the police academy. You wanna know what I had to do? I had to take a test. You wanna know what the test was? The test was prove you have an above a 3rd grade reading level. I shit you not, that was the test. The test was to prove you had above a 3rd grade reading level. Now, obviously, I'm a pretty smart guy. You know, I had the 9th grade reading level when I was in the 3rd grade, but that's neither here nor there. I just, just a little self-stroke. I don't even know that a 3rd grader would have said legal law.
No, that's not true. They're obeying the law.
The DA, and we will work with them. If any of them want to come in this city and commit a crime, you will not be able to hide. Nobody will wish you off. You don't want this smoke.
Oh! She's throwing down. That's what the sanctuary police in Minnesota need to do if they want the respect of their own mobs. But the problem is, if you're a police force and you want to go out there and engage in aggression towards the federal government, that's not going to end well. That's illegal. And this is a police officer who says that ICE is illegal. Do you even understand how bizarre this is? They're out there advocating for total insurrection. They're out there saying that those who enforce the law are doing something evil. They're calling evil good and good evil. This is just ridiculous. But this is what the mobs want to hear. They want to know that their sanctuary leaders are behind them from top to bottom. That's what they're getting from elected officials. And now they're getting it from their own police. They're not even mincing words in some parts of the country, which totally reveals why these agitators are completely out of control. They literally...
Green Cowboy says, sounds like a lot of these people are on the same payroll as the leftists. I need you to understand something. Cops are dogs of the state. They are. I know we got I've got a lot of probably like right-wing viewers that are pro-cop and whatnot. And on the individual level, that's fine. There's a lot of good cops out there. There's bad cops out there, the whole nine. Like, people are individuals. There's no monolith. But cops at the end of the day are not your friend. They're not. By and large, as an institution, as an arm of the government, as the enforcement arm of the government, they are not your friend. They are dogs of the state. They are the type of individuals that came in and enforced these unconstitutional mask mandates. They're the people that came in and shut down businesses, small mom and shop businesses during COVID because of public safety reasons. Cops are not your friends. So when you say they're on the same payroll as the leftists, they are. Like factually speaking, because as the enforcement arm of the government, they are government employees, and this is a leftist-ran hellhole city.
Really think they're saving America.
As far as what was happening on the street, many different things happening, many different individuals protesting, agitating, and things like that. So it's not out of the realm for that agent to be where he was at. I was out on the street today, Jesse, with the agents, and many similar situations occurred. Luckily, they didn't
happens all the
result
time
in something like that. But absolutely, agents are in a very precarious situation every single day they're out there on the street.
Right, and it was only a matter of time before...
And that, straight Sith male, is a good cop. A good cop that's no longer a cop because they were a good cop.
Or somebody tried to take things too far. The problem here is that none of this is peaceful. It's being defended as peaceful by those who benefit from these fraud schemes, by those who want to see these schemes keep going, by those who have...
And by the way, I want to clarify. Even though I said cops are not your friends, even though they're the dogs of the government, even though I said they are the enforcement arm of the government, that does not mean they're not necessary. They absolutely are necessary. That's the difference, because obviously you can't live in a lawless society, right? We would be worse off without police than we are with them. Like, it's not mutually exclusive. So I do want to make that point clear. Cops are not your friends. They're the enforcement arm of the government. They're dogs of the state. They are also necessary.
Something to hide by these leaders who are now in a lot of trouble if they get caught doing something. And you know what? It looks like they've already been caught. The walls are definitely closing in, literally and figuratively, on Tim Walz and his friends throughout the country. But the truth is, these folks, they don't think federal law enforcement is legitimate. They think those who obey the law and enforce the law are doing something illegal because they disagree with America's laws. They don't agree that if somebody crosses the U.S. border illegally, they've committed a crime, which they have. And to them, it's perfectly justifiable to get in the faces of the federal government and anyone who stands in their way, and here's why that is.
Across the country, politicians and even law enforcement on the left now celebrate those who confront and resist ICE.
Yep.
That law enforcement professionals, real ones, not the fake made-up ICE.
The domestic terrorists are ICE.
Wow.
We are not going to go quietly.
So I would like to inform you guys. Does anyone in the chat know the definition of terrorism? Out of curiosity, does anybody in the chat know the definition of terrorism? I'll wait for a moment. Sometimes county sheriffs will try to stand up for our rights, but just as often they're lazy and complicit with drugs. Exactly, because at the end of the day, it's an individual thing. They're individuals. Cops are like any other human. They're individuals. There you go, the most you can have. You are correct. Violence in support of a political end. That is exactly correct. Violence in support of a political end. So you could make an argument easily that these protesters, I hate to call it that, these insurrectionists, these rioters, are domestic terrorists. You can't really make that case for ICE, as there isn't a political end to their strategy. If you were just enforcing an existing law, that's not to change. That's not to change what the political ends are. That is to restore the removal. The political ends have been changed, uproared, or at least attempted to be changed and uproared by these agitators. And what ICE is doing is quelling the actual terrorists. It's that simple. It is a lawful end. Correct. It is a lawful end.
To prosecute and fire this ICE agent. You need to get out of our community.
I do not believe that the American people should be assassinated in the street.
You know what? It's so funny. These are the same people that say that the worst thing to ever happen in America was January 6th, and they blame President Trump for instigating all of that. But here they are in unison, and they've been doing this for years, calling for altercations and hatred towards those they do not like, yet they don't take any responsibility because they stand there and they say, hey, oh, we're just being peaceful. Oh, we're just being peaceful.
It's funny, he brought up AOC there. Brought up AOC. I want to show y'all something. Let's see if I can find it. See if I can find it. It was only a day or two ago, so I'm sure I've still got it on my X page. I shouldn't have to scroll too terribly far. In one moment. Let's keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. Oh, wait, is it this? Is this right here? Alrighty, so let's take a look at this. Let's listen to AOC for a moment.
Government funding, we're about to run out of money. What should be the red lines when it comes to ICE funding? When it comes to DHS, should there be policy or reduction in funding? What should be the options?
I mean, in terms of which deadlines line up with which goals, that's a tactical decision to be made. But my position has always been clear that ICE funding should be cut. We're seeing what they're doing with this reckless explosion in funding, and mind you, just so everybody knows, I want everybody to understand the cuts to your health care are what's paying for this.
Now, the rest of what she has to say doesn't matter. Notice how she says she's always held a position that ICE funding needs to be cut. Now, this individual, barbarism critic, I completely disagree with them, but they are factually correct here. Actually, your position was abolished. Did that change? If so, why? Response with, no, my position has not changed. Actually, it has. This is a direct quote from AOC that I dug up. I believe that ICE, an agency that was just formed in 2003 during the Patriot era, is a rogue agency that should not exist. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez on May 28th, 2025. So when she says right here, my position has not changed, when this individual says that her position was to abolish, it absolutely was to abolish. That is what should not exist would mean. Liar. By the way, yes, I would too. Don't be sorry, Walking Pebble. I would too. But yes, absolute lie. Just like every single other politician.
Folks are literally calling for the overthrow of our entire country. They're literally calling for the mobs to get out there and attack ICE, and they are not toning it down. And is it any wonder why people are out there thinking that they're fighting to save the country when their elected leaders, who they support and admire in many cases, are basically adding fuel to the fire?
The streets. These agitators are out of control, as you said during your monologue, out of control, and they will do almost anything, it seems, to try to stop our mission.
Right. They are out of control.
Is the mission being stopped because you guys are showing so much patience? You're showing so much...
And they shouldn't be. There should be... The time for patience is over. Zero fucking patience. You want to know what you should do? Here's my solution. You let out every single individual, every single one of them that had a fucking weed charge. Whether they were smoking it, whether they were selling it, whatever. Every single person that's in prison that has a weed charge, you let them out, and you replace every one of them bunks, and you double up on them bunks with these motherfuckers. All of them. People that were fucking smoking weed or selling weed or whatnot shouldn't be in prison to begin with. These motherfuckers should.
Much restraint. We showed video just last night of a woman
LSD too.
bum rushing you. Hey,
only exception being if you committed like some sort of violent crime on those drugs, but like odds are you didn't because they're not violent fucking drugs.
Hitting you. I mean, how do you do your job under these circumstances?
Jesse, the mission is not going to stop, and it hasn't stopped. We've got thousands of agents in the largest Department of Homeland Security mission ever conducted. Thousands of agents here in Minneapolis and across Minnesota conducting this mission, so it's not stopping, and that professionalism is on display every day. I tell you, I am absolutely amazed at the restraint and the professionalism that ICE, Border Patrol, and...
Too professional. They're being too professional. They're being too fucking nice. They're being too fucking nice. Like, it's like that scene from Roadhouse, right? It's like that classic be nice scene. Great scene. Love that scene. They actually showed us that scene in the when I was in the police academy. That was like they were like, hey, this is a perfect explanation of what you should be trying to do as an officer. Even when you body in someone, you body them nicely. And that's all well and good, but these motherfuckers are being too nice, too professional.
All those allied law enforcement.
Okay, so
how many agents does ICE have in total? That is an excellent question. Let's find out. How many ICE agents are there in total? As of 2025, there are over 21,800, so effectively 22,000 employees in the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which include both agents and non-agents. Agency has seen a significant increase in personnel, doubling in size in the past year.
And he's talking about professionalism. You've got to understand that the chief is talking about how these ICE agents, they're not doing what the sanctuary police in Minneapolis do, where they run away when the mobs show up. No, they stay there and they do their job. They do their job even though the mobs are screaming at them. They do their job even though the people that are there say, hey, we don't want you here. Hey, we don't like you. Get out of here. I'm coming for you. We're coming for your family. And they're not taking things further than is the appropriate response. They're not going out there.
They should be. You're right. They're not taking things further than the appropriate response, but they're also not taking things up to the level of what the appropriate response should be. You want to know how we know that? Because the shit's still fucking happening.
And doing any of what representatives like Ilhan Omar tell us is happening. They're not going after U.S. citizens. They're not going after anybody except people that are in the country illegally and who should not be here. Now, the only way a U.S. citizen gets wrapped up in any of that is when they interject themselves in that situation. And when they apply...
And we all saw what happened to that. We all saw what happened when you wrap yourself up in a situation like that. Let me tell you, it's not good.
Forced to a situation that does not involve them. At that point, they have to get arrested. At that point, their actions, which are illegal, which are an assault on federal agents, have to be met with something, or law and order doesn't exist.
ICE, HSI,
Giga Chad. The fact that this is a Chicago cop. When I saw this speech, I'm familiar with this speech. When I saw this speech, it blew my fucking mind. Could not believe we had a Chicago cop saying this shit.
are officers. They are agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed and that this could end
right,
in a deadly
why else are you
situation.
doing it?
And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions. Do not box in.
And this is the thing that the mobs have a massive problem with. This is the thing that they are very...
Yeah, this is what they got. They got a problem with a fucking cop doing his job as a fucking cop, saying, hey, these guys are also law enforcement. Maybe, if you don't want to get fucking shot, accosted, arrested, whatever it may be, don't fuck with them. Don't want to end up like George Floyd? Don't do a fucking 8-ball, then box in some cops.
Upset about. They don't think that ICE is a legitimate law enforcement agency. Therefore, they don't think that ICE agents should have the right to defend themselves if these mobs decide to try and implement their version of mob justice. But you've got to understand something. The moment an officer of the law gets up and puts on a badge and gets in a vehicle that is either marked or unmarked and goes out on the streets, they're obvious. Everybody knows who the law enforcement officers are here, and they make themselves a target. It's not like when you are driving in your personal vehicle and you're in the supermarket parking lot at Costco and everyone's jockeying for a place to park and you end up getting boxed in and, oh, this must be an accident or something. No, Law enforcement officers are conspicuous. They are visible. That is their job. When they get boxed in, there's a reason for that. Or at least they have to assume there is. If they don't, the consequences to them could be something none of us want to think about.
Those aren't calls to peacefully protest.
No.
Those are calls to violence, which we have seen every single day.
What sort of fucking adult just got a trombone laying around? Like, look at this. What sort of fucking adult got a trombone laying around? Bro, if you're gonna be a fucking hippy-dippy leftist, at least be a cool hippy-dippy leftist with a fucking guitar. What sort of hipster-ass, oh, I failed it in my Mighty Mighty Bosstones cover band bullshit is this?
No.
Those are calls to violence, which we have seen every single day. People protesting to change the laws, that's what built America. That's what's happening, at least right now.
Yeah, not
now.
this. Not
Think about the
this.
civil rights movement. Today, though, politicians are celebrating those doing hand-to-hand combat with law enforcement. Somehow they are now martyrs.
And that's the thing. If
to be fair, I wouldn't really consider some little fucking, like, scrawny leftist punk who's trying to get in, like, some god girl's panties being like, to be hand-to-hand combat.
someone does something wrong, and their elected leaders get out there and they say, hey, that's not wrong because ICE is wrong. That's not criminal activity because the only criminal in this country lives in the White House. I mean, if they're going to get out there and say that, and they're going to defend these people, there's going to be people who keep going. There's going to be people who don't stop. We've been seeing that since Trump took office. That's been the theme of the first year and counting of the Donald Trump presidency, is the mobs rising up with encouragement from those who hate this president, who hate America, and want to see the U.S. border wide open and want to see all these fraud schemes perpetuate. That's why Tim Walz was supposed to be VP. He was going to be installed as vice president to have his levers on this country and all the investigations to make sure that these schemes that plunder America were rolled out nationwide and that you and I never found out about it.
That the country voted for. It's a shame. It shouldn't have to be like that. You anticipate that people are going to start throwing themselves in front of cars. You anticipate there's going to be more blockades. They're going to get more aggressive. Do you guys have the strategy, the resources to be able to handle this?
We do. President Trump and Secretary Noem ensure that we do have those resources. We have exactly what we need to make Minneapolis, Minnesota, and all the cities across America safe for Baja America, Jesse. We're going to do that. And I'll tell you what, we're working for a dream team that gets us the resources that we need when we need them.
Oh, that is not what the mobs want to hear. They don't want to hear that ICE and law enforcement aren't backing down like their own sanctuary police have backed down. Now, I've got to share.
Yeah, you make a real good point, Walking Pebble. The same people that don't like borders are quick to point out that Russia's violating Ukraine's borders. Funny how that works. It's funny how there is no intellectual, philosophical consistency amongst the left. None whatsoever. And to be fair, sometimes they need some amongst the right as well, because these same fucking people on the right will say the same thing about Israel, but that's neither here nor there. Point is, you know, get your dick out of Israel's mouth, get your dick out of Russia's mouth, get your dick out of Ukraine's mouth. All this shit is bad for America. How about you actually be America first? Better than that, how about you be fucking America only? But yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. Yeah, borders is some oddly convenient that borders do exist when you think that big bad Putin is coming in and violating them, but not when you've got over $1 billion of Somali fraud coming right out the fucking heart of our nation.
Something with you. I've spoken to people who are well-meaning and who really do not like any of this lawlessness, but they say, you know what? Why don't we just leave these sanctuary cities alone? Why don't we just let them burn? Maybe we shouldn't have ICE go in there because maybe it looks bad. I totally reject that idea, and I'm going to tell you why that is. America is one entire country. If you have specific areas of the country that are allowed to exist in a perpetual state of rebellion, which is what's happening in these sanctuary cities, you're going to get these Minnesota-level fraud schemes that are happening there. The two go hand in hand. Utter lawlessness in these certain places, it destroys the entire country. It's not like you can just ignore Minneapolis and not have harm done to America, because here's another thing you got to think about. You got fraud going on in one place, that just encourages criminals all over the rest of the country to try to get their schemes happening in your backyard. You see what's happening over here translates into the rest of the country. Not to mention, if you have sanctuary cities scattered throughout the country, and you've got illegal fugitives that are being harbored in those places, that just tells criminals, gangs, and the worst of the worst outside of our country that make money exploiting the U.S. border that they can still do that, that there is still a business opportunity because their customers are still in these places and are allowed to stay there forever because the federal government in the past never had the willpower to go into these places and keep the entire country safe at once by eradicating lawlessness and bringing back order no matter where there happens to be disorder. Just because there's disorder in some deep blue city doesn't mean you let it go because it's their fault. No, the mobs don't see it that way. They love it. It's going to keep going, and that is just going to empower the fraudsters and the criminals that harm our country. What do you think about that? Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
Excellent work. Excellent video. Yeah, I like that quite a bit. I'll drop the link to it real quick in the chat for you guys. Spot the fuck on. In fact, again, I was going to say he didn't go hard enough. He went plenty hard. But our government's not. Our government's not going hard enough at all. I want to see every single illegal immigrant deported. I want to see every single fraudster put in prison. If you were a fucking fraudster that is defunded, God knows how much of our taxpayer money, of our, which should be our futures, our children's future. As far as I care, if you're like an immigrant or whatnot, you can have that immigration, you can get that revoked for all I give a fuck. Send them back. I don't give a shit. Put these people in prison, and if you're an individual that's obstructing law enforcement, guess what? You go into prison as well. Unless you want to end up Renee Gooded. Is that fun? And I could not give a fuck less. Why? This shit don't affect me. Because it don't. It don't. To quote a wise man, the fuck that got to do with me? Guess what I do? I go out to the mall or to the gas station or to the fucking McDonald's or to where the fuck ever, and I obey the goddamn rules. So I ain't got shit to worry about. But we got a little bit of time left in the stream. Let's do a little palate cleanser. Let's do a little bit of palate cleanser. Let's talk about Pokemon. Pokemon is no longer for kids.
Hello, I am the real-life fake wizard. On January 12th, 2026, LEGO and the Pokemon Company announced their first official collaboration. 3 sets, Eevee for $60, Pikachu for $200, and Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise together for $650.
Now here's the dealio. I know Wizard got a hate boner for Nintendo. And understandably so. They absolutely do. Me and Moxie talked about this a little bit on Monday night. And I didn't give a whole lot of thoughts on it. Because I was still trying to like parse through them. Because there's some good and some bad here. So I'm wondering how Wizard's going to attack this. Because he titled this video, Pokemon is no longer for kids. And that's both true and untrue. So I want to see what the way he attacks this. Because Pokemon is not just the problem here. LEGO is also equally culpable, but Wizard's a smart dude, so I imagine he will bring that up. Yo, Ezra, shout out. Thank you so much for the gift of membership, man. Truly appreciated.
$650 for plastic bricks shaped like creatures from a video game that costs $70 and is rated E for everyone. Now, I know in my heart I shouldn't need to do a video explaining how this is a bad thing. Like, most of you who see this are probably going to agree with me. This is absurd, but we need to cover it here because this thing is going to sell out. All of this stuff is going to sell out. We know people will jack up their grandma's credit cards to get this. And the
I'm curious about something. I'm curious about, because he talked about, the $650, original starters. How much was the LEGO, Millennium Falcon? $100 smaller sets like the 25th anniversary versions. Yeah, over $800 for the massive Ultimate Collector series. How much for the LEGO Death Star? Over 1,000 years. Again, I don't know all the details on this yet. I would like to, that's why we're watching Wizard's video. But price-wise, this seems to be more of a LEGO problem than a Pokemon/Nintendo problem. Like, it's probably both. It's probably both. But I'm wondering how much he'll attack LEGO for this as well. Because this does seem to be a LEGO problem. Ocarina of Time. Let's see how much the Ocarina of Time set was. Because I was interested in the Ocarina of Time set. Yeah, dude. The Deku Tree set, $300. $300 for the Deku Tree. You all know what the Deku Tree set looks like? This. $300 for the... Bitch, get out of here. $300 for this. Like... So again, when he titles his video, Pokemon is not for kids anymore, I agree and disagree. But I want to make sure that he does acknowledge that LEGO is equally culpable.
Commercial? Oh, the commercial is beautiful. It shows a millennial at it.
Well, obviously, I'm jumping ahead. We're 50 seconds into the video. I'm talking about my opinions. This is a reaction video. Obviously, I'm not just gonna. If I just want to sit and watch Wizard's video, I can fucking do that on my own time like I usually do. But it's part of the stream, part of being, you know, a fucking content creator. So I would appreciate not telling me what to do with my fucking job.
Desk surrounded by bills, taxes, the crushing weight of adult responsibility, and then the escapism of building LEGO Pokémon. Nostalgia washes over him. He's a kid again. He's happy. The unspoken message? Hey, remember when you were happy? Remember when life was simple? Well, you can buy that feeling back. It's only $650. Forget about paying your bills. Buy plastic pocket monsters instead. This is a terrible kickstart to the Pokemon's 30th anniversary. This is LEGO, Nintendo, and the Pokemon Company essentially saying, bend over. And the worst part is that hopefully not some of you, but many people are looking back over their shoulders and saying, am I leaning far enough? Today's indie game shoutout is Pilfer, Story of Light, a 3D platforming journey featuring a cute raccoon that must save the forest from darkness. Master dozens of different level mechanics as you run and jump through forest-based worlds, saving other animals along the way. To learn more about this game and hundreds of other indie games, visit our new indie game discovery platform, fakeportal.com, or scan the QR code on your screen. Now back to the video. Let's break down what they're offering. And I mean, really look at this. Eevee is 587 pieces. It's $60. This is the affordable option. Like, that's the...
All right, so yeah, Eevee, all right, so $60. Yeah, 587 pieces. Let's just look at what the average LEGO, that's about that. All right, LEGO 600 pieces set. LEGO set 600 to 999 pieces. All right, right here. So we got, bitch, fuck off. So yeah, we got the LEGO City Bulldozer. This is 682 pieces, so a little bit more, but not by much. $70. Motherfucker, I don't care about your bargain barn. Get the fuck out of here. All right, you got the LEGO Classic Large Crib Box. 790 pieces. It's $60. This is 742 pieces, and that's $110. All right, so it seems like we have a rough idea of pieces to price ratio.
The entry.
And while we got pieces to price ratio, we got Runaway Vagabond for a 5-banger. I would say most toys now are made for millennials and older, since most kids are on tablets and phones. They is going after the toy buying market. I would say you're exactly correct. And again, I'm a toy collector. Obviously, I'm a toy collector. You can look at all that shit over there. Shit behind me, what you guys don't see, I've got like the ceiling, or like where my wall meets the ceiling is lined with action figures in their original packaging. So yeah, as a toy collector, I 100% agree with your sentiment. LEGO is one of those things that, like, don't get me wrong, there's still kids that play with LEGO. I'm sure younger kids, sure parents still play it with them, but by and large, the market has shifted. Like, for better or worse, the market has shifted. So tapping in and capitalizing on that market and whatnot, look, I'm pro capitalism.
$60 for one Pokemon that's 7 inches tall. Then there's Pikachu and the Pokeball. 2,050 pieces. It is $200.
All right, so 2,050 pieces. Like, guys, that's a lot of fucking pieces. That's a lot of pieces. So, all right, let's do a 2,000 piece set. All right, Brickopedia. This does not give us prices, so let's not use Brickopedia. Over $2,000 price. I don't fucking know about none of that. Here we go. Let's do Amazon. All right, let's Need to make sure none of my personal info shows up. So let's not do Amazon. I don't want to get Zexed. Let's see. Alrighty, here we go. Is this how much pieces it's got? Let's check. Yeah, pieces. This is 1,100. Okay, so yeah, that's the pieces we need. So how much was the Pikachu one? It is over 2,000 pieces. All right. So we got this one here that's 1,000 pieces, 1,100, 120 bucks. 3,400 is 250. All right, so this one's 200. Is there a way to search by brick count? That would be convenient. That would be real convenient. Values. Oh, I don't give a fuck about your values. That's not what I meant. That's not what I thought you meant. Shop by. Damn. Says by themes. Says by age. Ah, here we go. Bricks and pieces. Pieces by category. Is that? Nope. Nope. That's not what we want. Damn. Try Bricklink. All right, let's see if there's something for a Bricklink here. Real quick. All right, Mario and standard cart. Let's see how much is how many pieces is this? All right, so this is almost the same. 2,000 pieces. 170 bucks. 170 bucks. All right, so that's one. Let's see. That's a Millennium Falcon 2000. You said try Bricklink. Bricklink. Okay. Oh wait, this is items released in 2000. Items released in 2000. Yeah, nah. Bricklink. I don't think is gonna give us what we want. See if I switch to shopping and see if it gives us what we're looking for. Yeah, let's see. Avengers Tower. Oh, that's eBay. Damn it. What's this one right here? Lego.com for more. Let's Lego architecture. Yeah, Lego.com. How much is this one? This is 3,500 pieces, and it is almost $300. I mean, so far, it seems like this is pretty consistent with Lego's normal pricing. Seems like this is pretty consistent with Lego's normal pricing.
For Pikachu, the mascot, the one on every piece of merchandise since 1996, $200. Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise, 6,838 pieces, $650. The Kanto starters.
Nearly 7,000 pieces. We looked up, we did those ones earlier with, like, the Millennium Falcon and the Death Star. Saras was talking about how those are massive piece counts. By the way, I don't know if you guys have seen the size of this one. This bitch is sizable. Now, I wouldn't spend no fucking $650 on this. I do think it's too much, obviously. But we'll see what Wizard has to say.
The ones you chose in 1996 when you were 8 years old. The ones that defined your childhood. $650. The total to own all three is $909. Nearly $1,000, not including taxes. Oh, but wait! If you buy the $650 set, you get a free Kanto badge collection.
Bitch, I don't need no free Kanto badge collection. Boy got all the badges he needs right here. There we go, right there. Don't need no fucking... I got my badges, bitch.
That's 312 pieces, 8 gym badges. What a steal. And if you're a LEGO Insider member, meaning you've already given LEGO enough money to earn 2,500 loyalty points, you can redeem a mini Pokémon Center, which is 233 pieces. This is how they're celebrating 30 years of Pokémon. This is the thank you that the fans who made this franchise get. Eat it up, slurp it down, and be grateful. Put $650 in perspective here, because I need you to feel this. For $650, the cost of one Lego set with 3 Pokemon in it, you could instead buy a Nintendo Switch OLED and 3 full games, an entire console, multiple complete gaming experiences, and hundreds of hours of entertainment. Or you can get a Steam Deck, a portable gaming PC, access to your entire Steam library anywhere you go. Or every mainline Pokemon game released in the last 5 years, plus all their DLC. Scarlet, Violet, Legends Arceus, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, Sword, Shield, and all the expansions. Every single one. Or, here's another option, a family vacation, hotel, gas, food, activities, actual memories with your actual family. Last one, and bear with me.
See, I find that to be a very disingenuous argument. For $650, you get this almost 8,000 piece Lego set that you can build with your kids if you got them. Like, that's a family memory. I like the idea. Yeah, traveling with family's great. I've done it. I love doing it. I would rather do that than buy this set. But I mean, like, I used to do Legos with my dad. That was something he and I would do together. Actually, mostly did with my mom, to be fair. But yeah, like, it was a lot of Bionicles. I got the Lego R2-D2 that was like a foot fucking tall when I was in like 3rd grade, I believe. Me and my mom built that together. That seems to me to be a disingenuous argument, especially considering, let's say millennials are the target audience here, as you guys were saying in chat. That means millennials grew up with Pokemon. Likely their kids are also into Pokemon. That's a shared mutual interest.
Here, you could buy a Nintendo Switch 2 Mario Kart bundle and the newest Pokemon Legends EA experience, plus the DLC. That's the newest modern gaming Nintendo system and the newest Pokemon game. And you will still have money left over for that NSO subscription if you didn't get like a Costco bundle. That's the opportunity cost. That's what you're giving up. Not just $650.
But see, I wouldn't say that's what you're giving up. This is very disingenuous framing. So there's a value proposition here. There are people that are, Pokemon is the largest IP in the world, right? Pokemon is the single largest IP in the world. That's the card game, the video games, the anime, all the merch, all that stuff. I used to play the Pokemon card game. And not just collect the cards, actually play the fucking card game. I knew people that played the card game that didn't play the fucking video games, or that didn't watch the anime. They were just into the cards, or they were only into 2 or the 3 or whatnot. You know, I absolutely knew people that was, on the playground back in the day that watched the anime, never once played the games about the cards. Because Pokemon is such a vast IP, it's segmented. But you got Lego fans who might be into the Lego aspect that don't care about the video games. So again, there's versatility to this that I don't think Wizard is, at least so far, either considering or being honest about.
Bucks in cash, $650 in experiences.
Yeah, we'll get the collectible stuff in a bit. I see you guys making
time with your family for 3 plastic Pokemon that sit on a shelf if you open the box and assemble them. This isn't a luxury hobby purchase. This is financial self-harm at this point.
I mean, it kind of is a luxury hobby purchase, though. Someone in the chat mentioned Gundam kits. Let's take a look at that. Average price of a Gundam, what are they called? Model. Gundam model prices vary widely from under $10 for simple entry grade kits to over $100 for master grade or perfect grade kits with a popular high grade. Real grade models typically fall between 50 and 60, depending on complexity, like 1/44th scale, 1/144, the 1/100th series. You can find basic beginner-friendly kits, 20. Perfect grade, 200 plus, premium, huge, extremely detailed, and expensive. Yeah, I mean, again, I've bought fucking action figures that I've never taken out of the package for over 200 fucking bucks. I almost went over 600 bucks on a Leon S. Kennedy action figure at one point that was super rare, limited edition. My roommate taught me out of it. He was probably smart to do so. But the point is, this is a luxury purchase. how much people spend collecting cards, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, Warhammer. Yeah, dude, if you had to ask me how much money I spent on Magic the Gathering in my lifetime before I started to boycott Wizards of the Coast about 5 years ago, I would shudder to think of that cost.
But let's talk about that commercial again, because I need you to understand what they're doing here. This is marketing. The ad shows an adult, a millennial, someone in their 30s, stressed, overwhelmed, surrounded by paperwork, bills, taxes, the imagery of someone drowning in the responsibilities of adult life. And then salvation. They're building Lego Pokemon. The stress melts away. They're a kid again. They're happy. Do you understand what message that sends? Hey, millennial, we know your generation got shafted. Student debt, housing crisis, wages that don't match inflation. We know you're stressed. We know you're struggling. But look, remember Pokemon? Remember when life was good? You remember Charizard? Well, give us $650 and you could pretend it still is. Just ignore those responsibilities on your desk. Buy this plastic crap instead. This is a disgusting marketing strategy that and I hope you start using this phrase after I tell you here, because it is starting to catch on. This is nostalgia laundering.
Again, except I don't think it is. I mean, yes, there is the nostalgia aspect to it from the marketing and whatnot. He is correct. But we just looked at a bunch of Lego sets, and there were several of them that weren't license-based. They were just regular Lego sets, like fucking trucks and boats and shit. And they were priced absolutely comparably.
Something emotionally priceless, perhaps your childhood memories, your connection to these characters, the joy you felt discovering Pokemon for the first time, and converting it into a premium SKU number. They're monetizing your emotions. They're putting a price tag on your past. They're not.
So they're doing what all companies that sell stuff have always done. They're marketing. Yeah, exactly, Valiant Goat. Sounds normal to me. Like, even prior to us being in such financial dire straits that we're in now as a country, really as a world, this is always how it's been.
Celebrating your childhood, they're liquidating it. And the price is a feature, not a bug. Because it costs $650, it must be premium. It must be special. It must be worth it. You ain't buying a Lego set, you're buying feelings. And they're charging you $650 for emotions you used to get for free when you were 8 years old with a Game Boy and a dream. And I can already see some of the comments.
Yeah, the feelings were free to you because you were a kid, but there was still money spent to have those feelings, oftentimes by your parents, or maybe by yourself with your allowance that you got, you know, mowing lawns and shit. And like how much was Pokemon Red on release? Like, what was the cost? Let's see. How much did Pokemon Red, oh, there we go. Red cost in 1998. Typically cost around $29.99 at major retailers like Walmart, and that was in 1998. So let's see how much that is with inflation. Inflation calculator. Let's see, we got, there we go, 1998. Let's do $30. 60, same as, you know, Games Now, give or take. Same as Games Now, give or take. A handheld Game Boy Color game. Not even Game Boy Color, I don't think. I'm pretty sure the red and blue are just Game Boy. So you've got a Game Boy game that costed what would be what would amount to about $60 in 1998. Like, I don't think Wizard is making a very compelling argument here at all, aside from nostalgia marketing bad, which, yeah, I don't like that we live in this, like, nostalgia pandering world. I agree with him. But that's not a strong enough argument, especially when these sorts of marketing practices have been around for ages.
Forming here. Wizard, actually, the price per piece it's competitive. The flagship set is 9.5 cents per piece. That's better than the Millennium Falcon. This is actually good value if you understand Lego economics. Stop. Listen to yourself. Price per piece is a metric that adult Lego collectors invented to justify spending hundreds of dollars on toys. It's a rationalization mechanism. It's the language of addiction dressed up as analysis. Well, if you calculate the price per piece and factor in the promotional gift with purchase and amortize the insider point value across the total build, You sound like a gambling addict explaining why the casino is actually a good investment. A kid
I completely disagree. As somebody who actually has spent a lot of time in casinos, again, grew up lived on the Cherokee Nation, lived in Oklahoma for a long time, spent a lot of time in casinos. Casinos are literally there just as a way to make you layer. Their entire business model is you pay us for literally nothing. You pay us for the minuscule upon minuscule chance that you will come out with more money. Guess what? That's a statistical near impossibility. Why do you think when you go to Vegas and they got all the extravagant hotels and casinos and shit, that's because they take in way more money from losers than they dish out in winners. As opposed to here, a hobby product, and hobby products have always existed, whether it be, let's say you're a hobbyist for guns, right? Guns are pretty fucking expensive. Now you can make the argument there's practical utility to guns. Yeah, there is obviously practical utility to guns. That being said, if you are a gun hobbyist, then the practical utility doesn't go much further beyond, like, maybe competition shooting. You're not going to use by and large, your competition shooting gun for home defense. You probably got other guns for home defense that you haven't invested all the extra money into to make it a legitimate competition shooter firearm. So, like, any hobby activity has its, cost-benefit analysis, has the economics behind it. If this was any other set and it was something that wasn't Nintendo related or Pokemon related or something that Wizard doesn't cover, let's say this was, I don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's say this was Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't think this would have even been on Wizard's radar, and I don't think this video would exist. And I love you, Wizard. You're my boy. You're my homie. But so far, this is an L.
Doesn't know what price per piece means. A kid sees Charizard and says, "Daddy, I want that." And now Papa looks at the price tag and says, "Absolutely not. That costs more than your birthday, Christmas, and 3 months of day-to-day raising your sorry ass combined, kiddo." LEGO and Pokemon are explicitly telling you these are not for children, these are for adults. Their games are rated E for everyone, and each new game entry remains accessible in playability for children.
All right, now I will agree with his point here that this specific thing that LEGO's offering is not for children, it is for adults. I will agree with that. However, once again, Pokemon is the largest IP in the world. You don't get to be the largest IP in the world by marketing only to children. You market to everybody. The audience you have had for 30 years now who were children 30 years ago. So, yeah, the games aren't for kids. In fact, these games ain't even for kids anymore. They're too easy even for fucking kids. But again, the trading card game. You see a lot of adults at the Pokemon trading card game. You don't see a lot of, like, elementary schoolers competing at the tournament level, when it comes to the TCG.
The anime airs on children's networks. Have you seen Pokemon Horizons on Netflix lately? That crap is children.
Yeah, but the manga is for adults. Well, teenagers, I should say. But, the point is, not your elementary schooler. The manga, you got Pokemon fucking murdering other Pokemon, and you've got government conspiracies, and you've got trainers murking other trainers. Like, the manga gets fucking dark. It is not for kids. So, again, Pokemon and the Pokemon Company and Nintendo understand that Pokemon is an all-ages market, and certain items are going to be for one demographic, while some items are going to be for another. I mean, dude, Mortal Kombat is for adults. Mortal Kombat rated immature. It's the game that gave us the ESRB. There was still a Mortal Kombat Kids Saturday morning cartoon and kids-oriented fucking Rambo and Terminator got kids' toys in the 80s. Those weren't for kids. The point is, if you've got an IP that can make money, you're going to farm out that IP to a bunch of different demographics to make the most amount of money possible.
Slop. Pokemon Horizons makes Ash Ketchum look like Confucius, Aristotle, and Albert Einstein combined. Look, this is a children's franchise, no? I mean, anytime I criticize Pokemon, I get Nintendo or Pokemon.
Excellent. That's an excellent comparison, Vagabond. Ninja Turtles comic was for adults. The Ninja Turtles cartoon, absolutely not.
Pokemon White Knights with prolapse rectums in my comments reminding me that this has always been a children's franchise. And in this case, I agree with them. Pokemon has spent 30 years telling parents, this is safe for your kids. This is good for your kids. Buy this for your kids. And now those same parents are being told this is not for your kids unless you're loaded. And it gets even a little more disgusting. You know, before LEGO, Pokemon had a building block partner. Mega Constructs, owned by Mattel, made officially licensed Pokemon sets for years. And they were affordable, they were accessible, and they were for kids. You can get them in Target. A jumbo Pikachu from Mega Constructs, 800 pieces for 50 bucks. Buildable Pokemon that children could actually own. Starter sets for $20, blind boxes for $5. That's what accessibility looks like. That's what celebrating a franchise looks like. But that line was discontinued December 2025, and now we have this. Pokemon wants adult collectors paying premium prices for display pieces that sit on shelves and appreciate in value. If you open the box, yeah, this ain't about play anymore. It certainly isn't about creativity. It's not about inspiring the next generation or connecting families through shared experiences. This is about shareholders. It's about margins. This is about extracting the
But so is everything, even stuff that are for kids are still about. Again, back to Vagabond in the chats, his argument earlier about when he brought up Ninja Turtles. Dude, they constructed the toys first and built the show around the toy line. Spider-Man the animated series from the 90s did the exact same thing. Toys first, then show built around the toy line. G.I. Joe did the same thing. He-Man did the same thing. Transformers did the same thing. Why? Because that's also about shareholders. It's about making money. It's about trying to capitalize on things that will sell. The whole reason cartoons exist, or at least, used to exist, I don't know about nowadays since people aren't buying toys, but the whole reason cartoons existed in the 80s and 90s was to sell toy. Let me tell you guys a little anecdotal story. My favorite video game of all time. My favorite video game of all time is Sonic Adventure. I've mentioned this a million times. My favorite video game of all time is Sonic Adventure. Now, the voice actor that plays Sonic in that game, Ryan Drummond, he was told by some Sega marketing execs that depending on how the game sold, that it's possible that we would get an animated series, that he would also be signed on to play Sonic for the animated series. So several months go by, and he hasn't heard any word on the animated series. So he calls up his agent to figure out what's going on with the animated series. And he's like, there's not going to be one. And Ryan Drummond was like, what do you mean there's not going to be an animated series? The game's selling exceedingly well. He's like, exactly. We don't need to market the game based off the series because the game's already selling. Producing the cartoon for kids would effectively be a loss leader for a game that's already destroying on the market. So, yeah. Like again, this is... What Wizard is explaining here is literally nothing new.
The absolute maximum from a captive audience that has been emotionally invested in this franchise since childhood. And they're laughing at you. They're literally laughing at you in the commercials.
I did not know that Tiger King, but I'm not
millennial
surprised.
escaping their sad life by buying our plastic. Isn't he adorable? Now pay up, piggy. But like LEGO knows how to do accessible celebrations. They've done it before. They chose not to do it here. Look at LEGO Super Mario. That line launched in 2020 with starter sets at 60 bucks. Expansion packs at 30 bucks, character packs at 5, multiple price tiers, play-focused design. Kid accessibility built into every decision. A child could start with a $60 set and expand over time with birthday money and holidays. Families could participate.
Yeah, but again, maybe he'll mention it because I paused it, and if he does mention it, fair enough. But the Mario set that we just brought up, literally like 10, 20 minutes ago on stream, was I think it was like $170 or $200 or whatever Mario set for the big Mario. So it's not like this Mario set was exclusively for kids either. They had adult price options as well.
Participate together here. The whole line was designed around play, not display. Look at LEGO Harry Potter. Yeah, there's a $500 Hogwarts castle for the collectors, but there's also $15 poly bags, $30 small set, $50 medium sets, a full spectrum of price points so anyone can participate at their level. Look at LEGO Star Wars. Some display pieces for adults are $800, sure. but also $10 battle packs, $25 buildable figures, $40 play sets. You can find LEGO Star Wars in Walgreens.
So your argument is that, like, you're upsetting Spaghetti because they didn't also include something for kids? I mean, sure, you can make the argument that maybe they should have made stuff for kids. I wouldn't be opposed to that whatsoever. But there's also nothing wrong with not doing that if that's not the target demographic you're going for a 30th anniversary celebration. If you're celebrating the 30th anniversary, odds are you would want to target the folks that were there 30 years ago. Vagabond with a 5-banger. He's misremembering, too, the 90s Burger King promo for the gold Pokemon cards was not a kid's purchase item. Yeah, that's actually true. Weren't those an extra purchase? Like, you got your like, Burger King kids meal or whatever, and there was, like, an extra $5 purchase or whatnot to get the gold cards, or maybe it was even more than that. But, yeah, no, you're entirely correct. Those weren't just the toy that came with the meal. You had to buy those separate, if I recall.
LEGO knows how to include kids. They chose not to here. For Pokemon's 30th anniversary, a franchise built on children, LEGO launches 3 sets, all 18 plus, all priced for adult collectors, zero
Yeah, Pokemon's been around since 96.
Options for kids. But you know what happens next. Of course you do. And many of you have already said this in the comments without watching to this point in the video. These sets are going to sell out, not because millions of fans are buying them to build and enjoy, but because scalpers are going to hoard them. The same people who caused...
Now this, I'll agree with him on. And here, I will likely agree with him on, because the scalp market for anything collectible, especially Pokemon, because the trading card game, is fucking ridiculous.
Fist fights at Target over Pokemon card restocks. The same people who made trading cards inaccessible for actual children or people who play the game. The same people who turned a children's hobby into a speculator's market. They're coming...
Okay, I'll push back a little bit there. Yes, Pokemon the trading card game, you could say was a children's hobby. I learned how to play the game when I was in, like, I think 3rd grade or so. Then I started getting really into the game. Started actually going to tournaments by about 5th grade. Started actually playing in Pokemon tournaments. And the only reason that I don't do it now, like, by like 6th or 7th grade or whatever, I moved on to Magic the Gathering, which was just a much better, much more fun, much more competitive game. But the tournament scene was mostly older kids and adults. Even at the 5th grade metric, I was one of the youngest ones there. So, like, the competitive trading card games it's not just a children's hobby. By the way, how many children, I wager was the vast majority of you guys in the comments actually had the cards but didn't even know how to play the fucking game. I was a minority in my school in that I knew how to actually play it.
For LEGO now. Actually, that's a massive understatement. They're already here. Scalpers have been in LEGO for a while. These sets will hit eBay for likely thousands of dollars. The limited edition Kanto badge collection here will sell for $200 at minimum, probably a lot more. The scalpers will make their money. The investors will keep their sets sealed for appreciation. And the fans, the actual fans who love Pokemon for 30 years, well, they'll be priced out again. Still, like forever. LEGO sets have become investment vehicles. Studies show they appreciate at 11% annually. Better than gold, better than bonds, better than stocks. Now, I'm no investment advisor. I'm just a fake wizard. But holy crap, you gotta see these LEGO prices, man. And the scalpers know this. The investors know this. And LEGO and Pokemon, they don't care. Sold is sold. Money is money. Whether it's a fan building Charizard with their kids or a speculator storing sealed boxes in a climate-controlled warehouse, the revenue is identical. So you have 2 outcomes. You either pay $650 retail and feel like you're being mugged, or miss out, wait, and perhaps pay $1,000 plus to some opportunist on eBay who never had any intention of opening the box. Either way, someone's getting rich off your childhood, and it ain't you, buddy. But hey, now.
I fail to see a problem with that. Maybe I'm just too pro-capitalism, but I don't give a fuck if someone gets rich off what I choose to spend my money on. If like, as long as I, again, because there's a value proposition to it, and if the value is there by, whatever subjective measure that I see. Again, I'm using myself here as as an example. Again, I wouldn't buy this. I do think it's too expensive. That's one of the reasons I don't do Legos anymore. I used to be a huge Lego fiend. Bionicle, I think, is one of the coolest IPs of all time. I'm a massive Bionicle fan. You read all the fucking comics, got the movies, the video games, all the fucking toys. Like, I'm a massive Bionicle fan. One of the most underrated IP of all time. That being said, I don't do Lego anymore. I haven't for a really long time. And a lot of it's due to space issues. A lot of it's due to the fact that Lego has gotten too expensive. But Lego's gotten too expensive in general. The Pokemon stuff is kind of irrelevant to that.
Now, this is a pattern, isn't it? Nintendo, partial owner of the Pokemon Company, has been on a very specific trajectory. Mario Kart World, $80. The first Nintendo game to break the $70 barrier. And what happened? People screamed, drop the price! And then the Switch 2 bundle sold out in seconds. All bark, no action. Nintendo Switch 2, $450 for the console, $90 for Joy-Cons that aren't even Hall effect drift proof. Variable pricing, that means games could cost anywhere from $60 to who knows what, because they haven't set a benchmark. Isn't that right, Doug? Nintendo Switch Online, a subscription service that charges you monthly to rent games you used to own. And now, LEGO Pokemon sets at $650. But here's why this is happening. Every corporate executive in the world is watching. They're all on the edge of their seats. Can Nintendo and its partners pull this off? Can LEGO pull this off? Can they charge these prices and still sell out? Corporate will continue raising the price ceiling to see if you're dumb enough to keep buying. They do this with gaming and consoles. They do this with Pokemon cards. They do it with, well, actually, they do it with everything in this economy, not just in.
Exactly. Here, I finally agree with Wizard. They do it with everything. They do it with everything. So at this point, unless you just stop buying anything that makes you happy, and you know, at this point, like, limit yourself to only purchasing fucking groceries. Man, I don't know what to tell you, because you got to get value out of something, right? You got to get value out of something. Now, whether what you get value out of is watching live streamers and sending super chats, or whether you get value out of buying Legos, that way you can build them because it's something that you can do to relax after work, I don't really see a difference, because people aren't going to be fulfilled just going to work, coming home, buying groceries and whatnot, and not actually doing anything to give them some sort of you know, momentary mental, emotional, physical, whatever reprieve.
Nintendo, not just gaming, but that's a topic for another video. They keep raising their prices little by little, or now a lot by a lot, to see if the addicted consumers are going to stop shooting up and get treated. Because if they can get away with it, like, if you let them, the prices will continue to go up everywhere. This is the playbook. So let the playbook continue then. Today it's LEGO Pokemon at $650. Tomorrow it's LEGO Zelda and a Hyrule Castle. Maybe a Breath of the Wild diorama, $700 for adult collectors. Next year it's LEGO Mario Kart full-scale Rainbow Road display piece, $800. A premium nostalgia experience. Then it's LEGO Metroid, LEGO Animal Crossing, LEGO Kirby, all 500 plus, all 18 plus, all designed for display, not foreplay. And that's funny. And suddenly premium. It's not display, it's foreplay. Ah, that's funny. All right, be serious.
Well done.
This isn't hypothetical.
Well done.
This is the trajectory. And it's not just...
War Wizard member for 6 months says, you think we didn't catch that, but we did. Unfortunately, this member message is already paid for. Griff Griff. Shout out. Well done.
Oh, we're so cooked, man. Oh, man. I don't know if I'm gonna leave this in, but that was...
No, I'm glad you left it in. That was
And
good.
suddenly premium nostalgia isn't the exception. It's the norm. Every beloved franchise becomes a luxury product. Every childhood memory gets a price tag, and the price keeps climbing because you keep paying. This isn't a hypothetical. This is the trajectory, and it's not just LEGO. It is everything, man. Wake up. This is what happens when consumers don't push back. When
See, he says wake up, but like, I don't think there's anybody in the world, at least the vast majority of folk, that don't know this already. Excuse me. But the game is rigged against you You can say your only option is not to play, and that's fair. Don't play. Everybody else is gonna play. I don't see a realistic way to convince folks at the metric needed to actually affect this to not play the same game. And even then, again, if it's like this with every product, every IP, anything that costs money outside of essentials, so effectively any luxury ever, you would need effectively the global populace of at least the first world to get behind this we're not going to buy it mentality. I like, really the only, I think, feasible option, the only realistic option is accelerationism, to the point where these companies price everything so far out of reach for the vast majority of folk that they have no choice but to bring everything down. And which might be the way we're headed already. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I'm struggling to find the argument that he's making beyond this sucks, and which, yeah, it might suck, but again, the values, what you value is subjective.
They slurp up whatever corporations feed them and ask for more. You think $650 is the ceiling? There is no ceiling. There is no point where these corporations say, you know what? Enough's enough. We're good. Corporations don't work that way. Shareholders don't work that way. The number only goes up until you say no. But a lot of you won't say no. Because it's Pokemon. Because it's your childhood. Because you're nostalgic and stressed and desperate for something that feels good. And they know it. And they're counting on it. They're monetizing it. So here's where we are. LEGO and Pokemon have made their choices. They've chosen premium pricing. That's not exactly new, but they've chosen adult collectors over kids and families. And now you have your choice to make. If you're angry about this, if you think that it's wrong, you know what you can do. You can fight back by choosing not to participate. Like, that's the foundation. But let me give you more than just don't buy. Don't buy at launch. Even if you want these sets, like, don't feed the day one frenzy. Don't validate a $650 price point. Wait for clearance, wait for sales, make them feel resistance. Don't buy from scalpers. I know it's tempting when retail sells out, but don't do it. Every dollar you give a scalper is a signal that this system works. Let them sit on their inventory and hopefully let them eat a loss. Also, support accessible alternatives. Buy from brands that do tiered pricing. Buy from companies that remember kids exist. Reward the behavior you want to see more of. And also, talk to parents. If you know families with kids who love Pokemon, warn them. Tell them about the mega construction sets. Tell them about other options. Don't let them walk into a LEGO store expecting a fun time. And finally, make noise. Post on social media, talk about it, keep talking about it. Let LEGO and Pokemon know that this pricing strategy has consequences. Corporations respond to pressure when it's loud enough and sustained enough. You're not powerless. You have a choice. You have a wallet and you have a voice. Use them.
Vagabond for a 5-banger says, here is where he is also wrong. Pokemon base core, besides advanced rock, paper, scissors, is about collecting and limited. Honestly, you're right. The core values of the Pokemon, like, games and mythos and whatnot, actually does kind of coincide with what LEGO is doing in a funny roundabout way. You are correct, Vagabond. Shout out.
Even if it's just you. I'm just a dude with a frumpy wizard outfit and a microphone. There's only one of me. I don't care if every comment complains about me. I don't care how many subreddits they want to complain about me on. I won't be silenced. And I'll stand alone if I have to, even if just for my conscience. You can do the same thing, maybe just not wearing the frumpy wizard outfit. Pokemon is 30 years old. I know. I was there at the beginning. I played Yellow and Silver myself. I watched the anime. I saw the first 3 films in theaters. I collected the cards. I loved Pokemon. And now I watch corporations look at that love, at our collective love, and see nothing but dollar signs, revenue streams, and extraction opportunities. Every property we loved as children is being monetized to death, brutalized, squeezed until there's nothing left but premium price nostalgia for people who can't let go. I feel nothing for these properties anymore. Not because of age, not because I've changed, but because every single franchise that meant something has been taken over by corporate fat cats who see our emotional connection as a weakness to exploit. LEGO Pokemon isn't a celebration here. It's a symptom, and it's proof that nothing is sacred, that everything you loved can and will be turned into a luxury product designed to extract maximum revenue from your desperation to feel something good again. This set will sell out. The scalpers will profit.
Hey,
the
link me when you
fans
do,
will pay.
Vagabond. I would
And
love to
next
watch
year,
it.
or next week, the prices will be even higher. That's the future, unless you choose differently. Until next time, create, innovate, inspire others to do so as well. And for the love of God, cancel Disney Plus.
So yeah, that's the end of that one. I mean, good. Wizard's a friend of mine. You know, Wizard's a friend of mine. We frequently disagree. We also frequently do agree. And that's just, you know, the way it goes. I don't think this video is a good video. Obviously, I linked it in the chat for you guys because, you know, at the end of the day, whether we agree, we disagree, you know, I always say at the end of my videos, diversity of thought's what matters. And I think that's still true here. Diversity of thought does matter. So, you know, give the video whatever you think is, you know, good, a like. If you think it, you know, deserves a dislike or whatnot, sub to him because he is a good dude. But yeah, I would make the argument that the reason this video doesn't work, the reason I think this video is a failure, is because he gets his premise wrong. I actually reject Wizard's premise from the beginning. I would agree with you, Rabnad, that he did make a few good points. In fact, the good points he made are the ones that didn't have to do with LEGO or didn't have to do with Pokemon, but they were about the business world as a whole. He's not inherently wrong when it comes to business strategies, the marketing, things to that effect. But the premise of his video is that Pokemon is not for kids anymore, and that this LEGO Pokemon collaboration, you know, proves that. Now, the reason I reject that premise is because Pokemon hasn't been exclusively for kids for a very long time. When you've got an IP that is 30 years old, you know, it's celebrating its 30th anniversary, you do in some way, shape, or form have to grow with your audience. Think of the Harry Potter books. Think about what J.K. Rowling did. You know, when she wrote the first Harry Potter book, and Harry is 11 years old, and it comes out in 1999 or whatever year it came out, and she releases books and books and books, and like, you grew with Harry and with the crew. You grew with the Hogwarts cast. The books grew with you. So they get more mature and they get darker to the point where you now have multiple demographics that are Harry Potter fans. So you're going to have to put out multiple products for those Harry Potter fans. You've got, you know, the little play sets for kids, and you've got the video games for kids. You've also got, like, Harry Potter themed cocktails and stuff like that, which are obviously for adults. You've got the really incredibly expensive, like, movie quality wands that you could buy for a couple $100, and those were a thing even in like 2005 or 3. I remember looking at them in catalogs. You got Harry Potter Trivial Pursuit. Look, board games have always been relatively, you know, a medium price for like premium licensed IP board games. Trivial Pursuit has always been like a very more adult-oriented game in terms of like its rule set and stuff. So, at the end of the day, if you're going to be a large IP that has a large audience, then it's never going to exclusively be just for those kids anymore, even if it was originally a kid's IP. We've used Ninja Turtles a lot in today's, you know, talk. Ninja Turtles is another one. When they did The Last Ronin comic book is not for kids. It is for the kids, the people that were kids when Ninja Turtles was, you know, at its apex, that are adults now. You're talking about a dystopian future where all the turtles but one are dead, and there's violence, and there's swearing. Like, that's not for kids. It's A-okay to have products that are for different demographics. I'm going to check real quick. How long has Pokemon been the #1 IP in the world? Pokemon has been the world's highest grossing media franchise for several years. Well, I need to say several years. Give me a actually win. At least as early as 2021, but I bet it was earlier than that. Let's see. Oh shit, it may have been 2001? Wait, really? really. I mean, it's worth 115 billion. So I don't know how long it's been at the top of the food chain, but it's been at the top of the food chain for a long fucking time. And if that's the case, then you're obviously going to, first of all, you don't get to be the #1 highest selling IP of all time, the franchise worth the most money of all franchises ever, unless you know how to monetize it. So this weird, like, when Wizard's talking at the end, like, he used to love Pokemon. I used to love Pokemon as well. I don't like Pokemon that much anymore. I still got nostalgia for Pokemon. I still love Gen 3, Gen 1, Gen 2. I like the older anime. I remember seeing Pokemon the first movie in theaters. The first movie my dad ever took me to see. My dad took me to see Pokemon 2000 at the drive-in. I still have and cherish all those memories. I don't really like Pokemon nowadays. Why? Because the games fucking suck. Because the love and care that used to be put into those games aren't there anymore. So I get that argument that he's making. But let's not pretend like they were doing it for the love of the game, that they were just like in there, oh, this is what's going to be best for the kids. It's still a business. It was always a business, and you always have to market it as a business and sell things as a business. You don't get to be #1 unless you've always been doing that. So I reject his premise from the outset that Pokemon's not for kids anymore, because there are still God knows how many Pokemon products that are for kids, whether it be bed sets, whether it be the games themselves, whether it be trading card game booster packs, whether it be plushies that are, $12.99 or whatnot. And even the plushie market's gone up. Man, when I was a kid, plushies were like $6. They're more doubled, tripled in price now. Plushies be like $19, $30, shit like that now for some of like the quote-unquote premium ones. So yeah, for them to offer a 30th anniversary Lego set that's, a premium product, would it be nice if there was a child-friendly kids option? Sure, I'm not saying it wouldn't. But I also don't see this as some, like, massive inherent problem with, Nintendo or with Pokemon, especially when we look at LEGO themselves. And we looked at the pricing of LEGO while we were reacting to this, and even the non-licensed, non-IP-based things that LEGO is selling, by and large, had a lot, or at least very similar costs. So yeah, I think that was an L video from Wizard. I really do. I definitely think that was an L take from Wizard. So that's all I got to say on that. But I do still love Wizard. He's still a good dude. Still like a lot of his videos. Still gonna be streaming with him on SNH because, again, we don't gotta agree. But with that being said, I think it's time to wrap it up. So definitely subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We just gained a whole lot of new subscribers because the video I dropped today has been doing banger numbers. If you've not watched these videos, check that out. But yeah, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I got to be on the Dooley show later, so I'm already like 4 circles. I think there was one more soup that came in, or maybe it was a membership chat. Let me check real quick. Yeah, Seabrew for 13 months. Only thing I don't like about Wizard is that he stole Grapweb's hashtag cancel Disney Plus. He did not steal that. He had no fucking idea who Grapweb was. That was just a case of parallel thinking. Grapweb and Wizard had no correlation with one another whatsoever. In fact, I think Wizard was saying that first, but Wizard wasn't like part of our sphere or anything yet. He was still sort of doing his own thing, so there was like no crossover. But yeah, no, I can guarantee he did not steal that from Grapweb. But, yeah, Grapweb is Wizard. Now, that would be a plot twist. But, yeah. No, we're going to get on out of here. If you be so kind, guys, yeah, check out the latest video. It is doing fucking banger numbers. It is my #1 out of 10 video. It is trouncing what my last #1 video was. So, it would mean the world to me if you guys watch that if you haven't already. But also, watch it to the end, please. While the numbers and the CTR is through the roof, the view duration is not. It's what people are watching on average 4.5 minutes of it when it's a 16-ish minute video. So check that out. Let me see who we're rating. Let's see who's live right now. Let's see who we're going to get our rate on with. And then, yeah, I appreciate all y'all for coming through. The lunch hour is back. Sorry I did take 2 weeks off from doing it, but the lunch hour is back. It'll be back consistently, just like it used to be. Thanks so much for everyone that put, was all up in this bitch. We're gonna raid J Viper. How many of y'all are still here? 61 of you. We're gonna raid J Viper. Let's give him a dope ass raid. Everyone say Vital Idol raid in his chat after the credits roll. Again, thanks for the donations. I'll see you all on the Dooley Show. See you tomorrow for Neon Leon. And until next time, it is all here in the Nerdosphere. And this has been Words of Paradise.